The Moody Mile. Just 16 have ever solved it, but only 3 have left their imprint. The 70s were owned by Gary Ballou. His Batmobile forced rule changes that led to present-day technology. Brett Hearn towered over the 90s. His teamwork and pit stop strategy revolutionized dirt racing philosophy. The 21st century has ushered in the presence of Billy Decker. For 3 of the last 4 years, his performance has escaped logic. His combination of fuel mileage, driving style, and technology has bordered on wizardry. The Moody Mile has been transformed into his yellow brick road, leading to Oz, and all his wishes have come true.
Looking to go 110 laps on a single tank of fuel? Oh my.
But at this pace, 116 miles an hour, if he goes 110 laps, it's going to be nothing short of a miracle.
Last year, Decker's magic was forced beyond even his powers. A serious late race crash turned a yellow into a red flag, much to the fans' displeasure. The suspense was agonizing. Could Decker hold on?
We've gone to 200 right now, so anything after this is a bonus. We'll get 2 more out of it.
The Franklin Flyer came through, literally showing he had more in the tank.
I don't know how he gets the mileage he gets, and I don't know how much fuel his car holds, and I don't know how he gets all the fuel in the car. I don't know where he hides it.
Obviously, they pull the cell out of the car after the race and measure it and check it.
Until somebody else beats him, he ain't gonna change nothing. And, hey, take your hats off to them guys.
Today, will Billy Decker once again bewitch the Moody Mile? Or will another break the spell? It's the Eckerd 200, and it's next on Rush Hour.
We are live at the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse for Dirt Modified Racing's annual Spectacle of Speed, Super Dirt Week 31, and the Eckerd 200. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Doug Logan. Welcome to Rush Hour, and the crown jewel of the Dirt Modified season is upon us. 200 flat-footed laps around the Moody Mile. This is the day, one day every year, that a Dirt Modified driver has an opportunity to become a Dirt Modified legend. Joining me is Dirt Motorsports racing analyst Shane Andrews. And Shane, this is the world's richest race on dirt.
Oh, it absolutely is, Doug. This is what everybody works for all season long. All the drivers, all the crews. They are looking for this one day of the year. This is the biggest event that dirt has to offer, and it's going to be a great day. The biggest riches, the biggest laurels. Somebody is going to etch their name on the history books.
And today has been an exceptional day here at the New York State Fairgrounds because rain has intervened. We have been delayed for almost 5 hours. How will that change race strategy? Joining Shane Andrews and me today, Mark Kenyon and Andy Fusco in the pits. And Mark is standing by. What are your observations as we get set to go green?
Well, the wind has died down. I'm down here on the track surface right now. The wind has laid down. There's clearing to the west. What this track does is anybody's guess right now, but I can bet you what we're going to do is run caution laps. We'll probably run 25 to 30 caution laps under caution and then turn these guys loose. It's a big guessing game for these guys. The track was sealed. We ran heats earlier, and the track sealed over. It was a misty light rain. There's still water laying on the infield. The second problem these drivers face are going to be in the turns. It's going to be slick, and the water laying in the infield, guys will get their left front tires down in there and splash it up in the groove, and the next guy coming through is going to be going for a sleigh ride. It's anybody guess here today. This is tricky conditions, but these are the very best drivers, very best crews in dirt racing that there is, and I'm sure we're going to see a great show.
Well, there is a look at the field on the track and looking to pack this racetrack in. And of course, this is of utmost important, Shane.
Absolutely right, Doug, as the track needs to be in prime racing condition. And just to follow up on what Mark had just talked about, especially down there in turn number 1, when they go into the corner, there's still a little bit of moisture right there. These drivers are the best in the business, and it's not the first time that they've had to race on a track like this to start the Eckerd 200.
I do wonder how this changes strategy for this 200-lap race. After all, this racetrack was so fast during race qualifications.
It sure was. Now we're going to see a slower track. This is a green racetrack in essence with all the moisture that we have had put on it. There's no rubber left on. All the rubber has been taken off. Every car out there is starting right over from scratch.
Let's talk race strategy. Andy Fusco, what do you have?
Well, Doug, you and Shane wonder what this is going to do to pit strategy. So do I. 10,000 people in the grandstand and 50 race teams here in the pits. It depends on how many laps they count under caution. If they count a lot, Scott Jeffrey, the crew chief of Billy Decker's number 91, what does that do to your pit strategy?
Well, we have to wait and see when they're actually going to give us the green flag under caution and start counting laps here. But other than that, I mean, it's going to be playing into the same strategy as we normally do. We have to wait and see what tire wear is going to be once the track straightens out a little bit. And after that, we'll just have to plan from there. Basically, it's going to be by the seat of the pants today.
Now, you guys have managed to get about 110 miles per stop the last couple of years, which means you may only have one pit stop today. How do you check tires and refuel to the end?
Well, if we end up doing one pit stop, we'll go and see how the car is handling. If it's okay, we'll try getting we're going to change tires anyways, just to be safe. So we'll have to just go plan around that, basically.
And that tells you all you need to know, guys. This team has won this race 3 out of the last 4 years, and they're playing it by ear.
There is a look at the number 91 of Billy Decker, defending race champion. And yes, Andy, winner 3 of the last 4 years. What a fabulous front row we have, Shane Andrews. Brett Hearn on the pole has 6 poles, and he's a 5-time winner, 8 wins in the front row.
And Brett Hearn has a lot of momentum coming into this race. He not only set the pole position, but he also set a new track record for the modifieds.
It's the Eckerd 200 from the Wet and Wild New York State Fairgrounds, and we are on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Rush Hour on Dirt is brought to you in part by Eckerd. Get more. Budweiser, the official beer of Dirt Motorsport. And by Hoosier Performance Tires. Tires designed for champions.
Doug Logan along with Shane Andrews at the New York State Fairgrounds. Super Dirt Week 31 and the annual running of the Eckerd 200, the world's richest race on dirt. What you're seeing right now is the field going along pit road, looking to get this surface raceable. And I mean raceable not only on the track, but also along the pits.
Well, they want to make sure everything is A-OK in the pits. You've got crews that are going to be down there. It's the most chaotic moment in all of motorsports when they go in for a pit stop. Just want to make sure everything is A-OK.
And of course, not only the championship of this race on the line here, but also the Advanced Auto Parts Super Dirt Series on the line. Let's take a look at the standings and bring you up to date, give you some sort of perspective. Alan Johnson leads Brett Hearn by 116 points. Tim McCready is third. And as we talk about the top 3, Alan Johnson, Brett Hearn, and Tim McCready, what does this mean, this race mean in the points chase?
This is the biggest race for them. This could really set the tone for the final 2 races of the Advanced Auto Parts Modified Super Dirt Series. If Brett Hearn can cut into that edge on Alan Johnson, it'll be a big morale booster for that team.
Brett, of course, with a big advantage in the starting grid over Alan Johnson. Tim McCready back a bit. Now 7 through 12.
Danny Johnson there in 7th. Kenny Tremont, Pat Ward, Chuck Bauer consistent in 10th, followed by Steve Payne, who's a disappointing 11th, and Vic Coffey's teammate in 12th.
Well, it's been an incredible year. One of the great stories in modified racing is that of Alan Johnson in 2002.
A resurgence, if you will, of AJ Slideways. Really, Alan has been a top contender for a number of years, but this has been a breakthrough season for Alan Johnson and that Elaine James Motorsports teams. He's a 2-time winner of the Eckerd 200. You've got to consider him a favorite coming into this race, but he's going to have his work coming forward for him.
You won't see this very often along pit road. You got the entire field now stopped. The cars were on the track helping to pack it in. Now there's an opportunity for the cars and the crews and the drivers to catch their collective breath along their own pit assignments. Clean off these cars for television. Thank you very much. Put any more fuel that needs to be put in. Let's go down to the record holder and the pole sitter and a 5-time winner of this event. Brett Hearn is standing by with Mark Kenyon.
I'm down here with Brett Hearn, track record holder, world's fastest human on dirt. Brett, what does this do to your strategy and your mind at this point? What's going through your head with this long delay?
Well, you know, it's kind of a shame. You know, you go through this whole week, and it's such a beautiful week, and then all of a sudden the race day comes and everything goes to heck. But I think that the groove is going to come in pretty quick, but there's going to be some treacherous spots, and I wouldn't want to get offline too far, especially on the outside.
What do you think about the track, how long it's going to take for it to come into your 29-second range? You think we'll see 29 seconds today?
No, I doubt that we'll even see 30s. I'd be real surprised if we saw 30s by the end, but I think everyone's got to be real careful here in the beginning, and I'll tell you what, I'm glad that I'm starting on the front row.
What about the fuel mileage battle? Billy Decker's been cleaning your clock 3 out of the 4 last years. He's won the race. Can you battle with him in fuel mileage today?
Well, the biggest thing is we really don't know what we have. You know, it's real hard to get a fuel mileage check on a short run, and I really don't know what we have. We've never run this engine combination before. It's a brand new Kevin Enders engine. We just don't really know exactly what we have until we make our first pit stop.
His place is set. He's due to be in the Hall of Fame when he retires, whenever that may be. But right now, Brett Hearn is set to go out and win the Eckerd 200.
And Shane, if you notice the first response for Brett Hearn, he said, I wouldn't want to be on the outside. Is he sending a message to Billy Decker to let him have the first corner?
I think so. He wants to get into that corner first, and the inside lane is going to be the preferred lane for the first few laps before everybody gets comfortable in a groove.
And there is the number 91 of the great 3-time winner over the last 4 years, Billy Decker. And, you know, this car, it's an interesting story with this car because he'll break it out for Super Dirt Week. Otherwise, it's in mothballs.
That's right. He usually runs a PMC chassis that him and Pete Chukda and Scott Jeffries have combined to put together that they use on the short tracks. But when it comes to the mile here at Syracuse, they bring out their faithful Olsen chassis. And as you said, 3 out of the last 4, they love this car and they feel comfortable in it, which is a big thing that you need here at the mile.
With passing at a premium normally here at the Moody Mile. Track conditions as they are. How important is it for Billy Decker to get that nose in front?
It's going to be very important. If he can win the race to turn number 1 and get out in front and get to that low groove and be consistent and be smooth, it's going to be tough to get by him.
Let's go down to Andy Fusco in the pits. Andy?
10 years ago tonight, under nearly identical conditions, Toby Tobias Jr. shocked the modified world with a race to win in a rain-shortened Eckerd 200 here in Syracuse. Toby, can you do it again?
We're still going to try. You know, we've got a good team here with the Howell Trucking team, and like I said, it's pretty ironic. You know, it's 10 years to the day, identical conditions. You know, if it was only that easy, you know, everybody'd be winning. You know, but we got to deal with a little better track conditions here right now. Hope they get worked in a little bit good. You know, I think here at night you're going to see you know, what it'd be like a Winston, you know, for the modified. You're going to see a hell of a shootout here for a short distance once we get going.
Yesterday, you lost a real heartbreaker here at Syracuse. Can you put that behind you? Did you get a good night's sleep? Is that gone? And can you get on with the job at hand today?
Yeah, it sure is. You know, that's why we try to put our finger on what the problem was yesterday. And, you know, it was, like I said, we had problems with the car, but it was a mistake of myself, you know, and we realized that. So today we just got the confidence from the guy that I can get the job done. And like I said, the track is, I think, in my favor. So, you know, between myself, JJ, and Pouch, and Dale Blaney, I think we can get the groove widened up. And, hey, I think the fans will see an excellent show.
Indeed, the track is in his favor. No one loves the slop at Syracuse more than Richie Tobias.
Isn't that something? And you can tell he's ready to accept that dare.
He sure is. And if you notice, he mentioned J.J. Yaley, he mentioned Billy Pouch, and he mentioned Dale Blaney. All these guys have sprint car experience here at the mile. They're not afraid to get it on the high side of the speedway and let it hang out a little bit more to get to the front.
Better them than me. It's the Eckerd 200, part of Super Dirt Week 31 at the New York State Fairgrounds, and we are on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
rush hour on dirt from the New York State Fairgrounds. Doug Logan along with Shane Andrews. It's the Eckerd 200. We're getting set for a very, very interesting race, and how these hardy souls have sustained a change of seasons here today in Syracuse. But they are ready, as the drivers are, the competitors are, as we are in the broadcast booth, to go racing. Here is the starting lineup for the 2002 Eckerd 200, and what a fabulous front row we have. Five-time winner Brett Hearn sits on the pole. He's got 6 pole positions overall, and the defending race champion, he's won it 3 of the 4 times over the last 4 years, Billy Decker in the 91.
Row number 2, the Scott Prentice number 47, his best 200 start, and 2-time winner Jimmy Horton in the number 99 right next to him.
To row 3, the 99B of Chuck Bauer, and outside Steve Poirier.
Danny Johnson in the number 14 will start on the inside of row number 4. Next to him, we find Doug Hoffman, the 96 winner.
He finished second at 86. Billy Pouch out of Frenchtown, New Jersey. Inside row 5. On the outside, last year's pole sitter, Tim McCready.
Row number 6, Tim Fuller in the B&F General Machine number M1. And next to him, Ron Smoker out of North Boston. Third place run for him last year.
On to row 7, Barefoot Bob McCready won it in 86. And Richie Tobias, number 35, the 1992 winner.
Row number 8, Mr. Small Block, Pete Bicknell looking to slay the big block drivers. And AJ Romano, a regular at the Fonda Speedway in the 16.
Vic Coffey is making his 7th 200 start. And the race rookie, Jason Barney, is outside row 9.
Row number 10, Kenny Tremont, the 98 winner, and Jerry Higbee in the number 97, a regular at Orange County.
Making his 2nd Eckerd 200 start, 20-year-old Matt Shepard out of Waterloo, New York, and outside a 2-time winner and a veteran, Jumpin' Jack Johnson.
Row number 12, Bud Chrisman had a 2nd place finish back in 98, and the Hurricane Steve Payne, who finished 2nd in this race in 2000.
On to lucky row 13, USAC star J.J. Yaley in the 12T Thumb car, and outside Jerry Pennick Jr.
Row number 14, Alan Johnson, current points leader for the Advanced Auto Parts Modified Super Dirt Series, and the 88 winner Kenny Brightbill out of Pennsylvania.
Sprint car star Dale Blaney is inside row 15 of the number 74 machine, and outside Eddie Marshall, 11 Valley regular.
Bobby Barron will be in the number 98V H&H racing car. Next to him, Jeff Trombley, the Fonda Speedway champion in the 21J.
On to row 17. 5th place finisher last year, Matt Quinn, and outside Mike Perotti is a perennial Frogtown champion.
Row number 18, Randy Sherlock out of Milford, Pennsylvania, and the 2002 Can-Am 358 champion, Pat Ward in the 42P.
On to row 19, Orange County regular Butch Tittle, and outside the FX1 of Frankie Caprera, who's making his 3rd start. He's 20 years old.
Andy Bicchetti, the Wild Child, 11 Valley regular, will start in number 21st position, and the 39th position, Steve Gray, the race rookie in the 29G.
On to row 21, there's Gary Tompkins and Kevin Bolin.
Chuck Hebing in the 66 and Rob Pitcher in the number 17, the non-qualifier race winner.
And row 23, Tommy Sears Jr. and David Hebert rounding out the field for the Eckerd 200. And the whole grid is on the backstretch now into turn 3, and leading them down the front straightaway, pole sitter Brett Hearn, defending champion Billy Decker out of turn 4 with the pace car in front. And here at the New York State Fairgrounds, we have many fans standing as the cars come down the front straightaway, and from Dave Farney we'll get the green flag and the yellow flag, and the 2002 Eckerd 200 is underway. Under caution.
And a very smart move. It gives the drivers an opportunity to find out what the track is going to be like at a little bit higher speed, but it also gives them an opportunity to work in that second groove for those cars that are on the high side of the speedway.
And that is, of course, of particular concern to Billy Decker.
That's right. He wants to win that charge into turn number 1 and get out in front of Brett Hearn and try and run away from the rest of the field. And you know Hearn's going to be right there trying to stay on the inside. And of course, you've got Scotty Prentice and the 99 of Jimmy Horton right behind them. Whoever can make the charge into turn number 1, you know that they're going to be right on their tail tanks.
you can see these cars looking to pick up speed as they come off of turn 4. They really want to put the pedal to the metal, but right now it's a matter of caution.
Well, these drivers have been sitting in the pit area with their crews. They've been relaxing in their motorhomes, been relaxing in their haulers for over 4 hours now. They've been itchy. This is their biggest race of the season. But once again, when they get behind the wheel of the race car, it's just another race. The anticipation is what has been driving them buggy all day.
The Eckerd 200 is underway under caution as we continue to work in the track here. The Moody Mile may be very, very moody here this evening. Let's go down to Andy Fusco.
Well, the thoughts I think of everybody in the TV crew here, Doug, is what does the driver think in a time like this? The sun's going down. This is not the best lit racetrack of all time. The rain, it's still damp. There's still a drop in the air. There's no point of us guessing. One of our members of this crew, Mark Kenyon, you've raced in this race. You've raced in the drizzle and the slop at Syracuse. What do the drivers think of now?
I'll tell you, I don't know what the veteran drivers think because I never termed myself a veteran driver, but I raced here one time. But I'll tell you what, this is the biggest race. It's a lot of pressure. These guys have put in weeks, months and months of preparation, all for this big race, and it's not really what they expected to be racing at night, to be racing on conditions where the track is going to be very, very slip and very tricky. I'm not worried about the super dirt trail guys. I'm a little more concerned about some of the guys that don't have a lot of time on this speedway, the non-veteran, the rookie type of guys. Those are the guys that right now are nervous because they know when the green drops that they're gonna have to race on this regardless, and it's gonna be slippery and it's gonna be treacherous. But you know what? It is what it is, and these guys are professional race car drivers, and that's what they do.
Well, those are words of wisdom from someone who made the most of his rookie orientation to the Moody Mile.
That's right. Mark Kenyon was the 1990 Eckerd 200 rookie of the race. So when he talks about the conditions out on the track, talks about what the cars are doing or what the drivers can expect to do, he's a wealth of knowledge.
We are 3 laps into the Eckerd 200 here at the New York State Fairgrounds as we continue to work the track in under yellow. But we'll be going green shortly. Stay with us on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Back at the New York State Fairgrounds, the pace car is out. The field now getting set 2 by 2 behind the pace car. We're getting set to go racing, green flag racing, 15 laps into the Eckerd 200.
And the drivers still doing the yeoman's job out there, getting this track race ready. They've been working on both the inside and the lower grooves, and we are going to double them up, and we are just about ready to go green.
One incident just moments ago. Ron Smoker starting outside row 6. Goosed it just a bit in turn 1, lost control of the car, and whammo into the wall. He is out of this race.
That's a tough break for Ron, coming off a 3rd place finish from last year in the Eckerd 200. Had a lot of high hopes for picking up that elusive first win.
Here's a replay of Ron Smoker, and look, ouch, into the turn 2 wall. Now the field is coming out of turn 4. The lights are off on the pace car, and let's see if the pace car pulls in. It looks like they're going to go one more lap. Pace car is in, and the cars come down single file. The green flag is displayed by Dave Farney, and the green flag is out, and the race is on. The Eckerd 200 is on, and Brett Hearn takes Billy Decker into turn 1.
Well, we've already seen a couple of cars using that 3 and 4 wide to get into turn number 1, and it was Timmy McCready in the number 56 machine as he was able to pick up a couple of spots.
And if you'll notice, as the cars came down for the green, it was actually Billy Decker on the inside of Brett Hearn.
And he couldn't make it work, though, as Brett Hearn was able to get the jump and lead the field off of corner number 4.
All the cars very cautious around the track as we are in our first, now into the 2nd green flag lap here at the New York State Fairgrounds. And Brett Hearn has put together a sizable advantage now on Billy Decker.
Brett Hearn has an advantage over everybody else right now, and that's the fact is he has nobody to follow.
Bob McCready slowing on the front straightaway.
A tough break. The Kinney Drugs number 9 machine slowing here on the front stretch. The 1986 winner, and it looks like he'll get out of harm's way.
And he pulls behind the wall. 1986 champion. There's Brett Hearn down the front straightaway, and here come the cars out of turn 4.
As I was saying, Doug, before Bob McCready slowed, is Brett Hearn has an advantage right now is that he has nobody in front of him, so he can set his own pace, he can set his own consistency, where everybody else right now has got to be cognizant of the cars that are in front of them and behind them, so they don't get a little bit out of shape, and they have to be a little bit more, less aggressive, if you will.
There is the 99 of Jimmy Horton, right behind Scott Prentice.
Interesting how that deal came together for Jimmy Horton, a businessman out of Ohio, wanted to do some dirt track racing and got a hold of Bobby Hearn out at T.O. Chassis and asked Bobby, you got anybody in mind that might be looking for a ride? And Jimmy Horton's name was thrown around, and here he is today in that number 99 machine.
Two-time winner here at Syracuse. The leader is Brett Hearn, and he's got almost a 2-second lead over Billy Decker. There's Brett in turn 1.
Boy, Brett has had a great week. He has been the dominator here this week. First day fast timer, backed it up on second day with the quick time. He was the 358 modified quick timer, and right now he's setting the pace.
And he's passed Tom Sears, so he already has lapped a car. There's Decker on the outside. Oh, my.
Tom Sears Jr. out of Clay, New York. Looks like he is going to pull it down to the inside of the speedway. Looks like he may be coming into the pits as the rest of the top 5 get by.
And he is able to bring it in. 21 laps in the books. There's the top 5. Hearn, Decker, Scott Prentice, Jimmy Horton, and Chuck Bauer.
Chuck Bauer, a surprise this week, qualifying in the top 6 for the Eckerd 200. Won one of the Suzuki Triple 20s on Friday. Has had limited success this season. He's been snake bit more times than not, and backing that up, trying to get some good runs underneath him at the end of the season.
Another car slowing and pulling into the pits off turn 4. And we'll pick that one up for you. There's the Jet.
That's Tim McCready's number 56. I do believe that is Butch Tittle behind the wheel. Tittle had something go awry on the Z car that he usually chauffeurs. Jumped in Timmy McCready's number 56 small block to start the race.
Scott Prentice currently runs 3rd.
Scotty broke a valve in his engine leading the heat race on Friday in the Suzuki Triple 20. They fixed the motor today, and it looks like it's holding up pretty good for him.
You know, there's a lot of excitement in the Scott Prentice pits.
Yes, there is. Now, Scotty is a 3rd-generation driver out of Central Square. His dad, Vinny, and him racing at the Brewerton Speedway each and every Friday night. Got a win out there at the D-shaped Dirt Demon this season, and he time-trialed rather well this week and is enjoying a very good run right now.
Now, personal observation. Look at how well this track is coming in.
It sure is. It's starting to come around, as a matter of fact, especially in turn number 3 and 4. In that shot right there, we can see that it's starting to darken up. Some rubber is starting to lay down. Granted, the track was green, but once these cars get up to speed and start sliding those Hoosier tires around, the track is going to take rubber.
Now, Brett Hearn's last time around the track, about 33.7, which equates to a little more than almost just under 107 miles an hour. He qualified at 123.8.
It sure is off from his speed of 121 miles an hour, 29.072 around the mile. As Brett Hearn working traffic right now. And that's Kevin Boland in the other Elaine James Motorsports number 1 machine. He picked up a guaranteed starting spot out at Eldora.
Look at how Brett had to back off.
Oh, he was up on the top side of the speedway. It's still a little greasy outside of that groove. Premium passing is going to be at a premium. It's where you pass the driver is where it's going to make the difference.
And meanwhile, the interval between Brett Hearn and Billy Decker has shrunk to next to nothing.
Well, Decker's been able to use the slower traffic as the great equalizer. Watch Hearn as he comes off the corner. Wouldn't be surprised to see him swing it up to the top side to try and go by.
Or
as
how
I say
about
that,
low?
he goes to the low side, and he wins the drag race into turn 1. Or
oh, no! Contact! Contact with the lap car.
Kevin Boland definitely making him earn it.
And Brett appears to be none the worse for wear.
Top side still a little bit greasy as they get out of that racing groove. It's where the black ends and the brown begins, where there's moisture on the speedway.
Now Brett backed off once from Bolin and then tried to get him, and Bolin actually clipped him. Now let's see if Hearn gets him on the front straightaway. He does go high, and he will take him into turn one. Can Brett keep it on the track? Yes. Wow.
That's where a lot of passes are going to be made today, off of corner number 4. When the drivers come off the turn, they're going to allow their cars to slide up into the top groove and get a run down the front straightaway and outbrake them going into turn number 1.
Kevin Kovac tells us Bolin's last start here was in '92, and that was his only start here. And so he's a bit inexperienced having the corporate jet on his back bumper.
Well, he did pick up the transfer qualifying guaranteed starting position out at the Eldora Speedway a couple of weeks ago, and he didn't bring his own equipment, and Jim Beachy and put him in the number 1 car.
I'll tell you, for starting in the front row, Brett Hearn has had his hands full already, hasn't he?
Oh, he sure has. It doesn't take long to get into traffic here at Syracuse, especially when you are starting 44 cars on the grid. So it doesn't take long, especially when you have a superior car as Brett has had this week.
That debris you saw flying through the air a few moments ago, tear-offs from the visors of these drivers.
Well, you're going to see a lot of these tear-offs, especially early in this race, because the track was slick, there was still moisture, and they followed each other around, and as the tire spray came up, it goes into the cockpit, and they have to keep their vision, so they tear off a slab of, tear off as they call it, and they keep their vision.
Well, you see that we're nearing 30 laps in. And I would say these drivers have done, for the most part, a masterful job.
They sure have. And you know, there's a lot of experience in this field for a lot of drivers, and they're a strong field, a wealth of racing experience, such as Winston Cup, Busch Grand National, ARCA, Sprint cars, USAC Silver Crown cars. Probably the most talented field that we've ever seen here at the Speedway.
Hearn, Decker, Prentice, Horton, and Bauer, that's exactly the way they started the top 5.
Early on, everybody just wants to get a groove going, feel the car out, see how the track is going to change. And it has changed since we went green, as we are starting to see some of the tops start to blow off a little bit, and you can see that the groove is really starting to come in.
Tim McCready started 10th. He's now running 7th. And 31 laps in the book. Race leader, there he is, Brett Hearn, followed by Billy Decker. Let's go down pit side, Andy Fusco.
Okay, you're looking at Kenny Tremont's helmet. Now I know you're saying, hey, wait a minute, doesn't he have a helmet on? Yeah, he's got a helmet on. He's got a spare one in the pits because, Abe, your son may well trade helmets during the pit stops. Why's that?
Well, with the mud and stuff that's out there flying around, we may have to change helmets. It may be quicker to do that. We got 10 extra tear-offs ready to go.
Now, how many tear-offs do you have on there right now?
10.
So 20 total. It's easier to change helmets than it is to change tear-offs, guys.
That's a pretty ingenuitive idea by the Tremont team. They have to individually put the tear-offs on the helmet, and it takes some time. So instead of handing them tear-offs to put on, hand them a new helmet.
About 3 hours before this race got underway, I saw Kenny Brightville with a new box of tear-offs. Well, he was well stocked.
Well, he's been to Syracuse enough to know that anything can happen, so he wanted to stock up and be prepared.
We're racing under the lights here at the New York State Fairgrounds. The Eckerd 200 is underway. There's 1 and 2, Brett Hearn, Billy Decker. The odds-on favorites, no doubt, to win this race.
Did you notice how much higher the racing groove is away from the inside apex of the track? There's still a lot of moisture down there. Usually when these cars right there, as they go into turn number 3, they put that left front tire right on that Jersey barrier, not on top of it, but right next to it to help propel themselves around the corner. They're not getting that low because there's still moisture.
Kevin Bolin's driving a wide machine, isn't he? Jimmy Horton tries to get inside Scott Prentice, can't get it done.
Well, he's driving a wide machine, and he's also holding up the guys behind him.
Precisely.
That's right.
Race leader was almost taken out. There is the race leader. Heading outside, way outside, coming down the front straightaway.
Rob Pitcher, the 17, just going down a lap. Look at Billy Decker close right in on Brett Hearn, especially in slower traffic. Let's see if Decker's able to mount a charge.
Now a quarter of a second separates Brett Hearn and Billy Decker. At one point it was almost 2 seconds.
And Decker trying to stay with Hearn, but Hearn seems to outpull him down the straightaways. A little more horsepower early on, but the great equalizer, heavy traffic in front of Brett Hearn.
Fast lap, last lap 23 turned in by Billy Decker at just under 33 seconds.
Track is starting to get quicker.
Horton inside Prentice. Picks up a spot.
Nice move going into turn number 1. Was able to get down and outbrake him going into the corner.
A considerable distance between Hearn and Decker back to Horton, and there's a lap car in between. At least one. Horton tries to go inside Bolin, can't do it.
Not too many people have had luck getting by Kevin Bolin, who is staying in front of Jimmy Horton. Both Brett Hearn and Billy Decker were able to get by, but Kevin Bolin giving everybody else fits.
There's the race leader in traffic. His last Eckerd 200 win came in 1995. Just one lead lap finish in the last 6 starts. He finished 3rd in 97. Last year he was 46th after bouncing off Steve Payne and into the 3rd turn wall.
And this is a deal that was put together by Jody Gable, a successful businessman out of Cobleskill, New York. Brett Hearn and Jody Gable teamed up and won the Lebanon Valley Speedway Track Championship. They decided to put their efforts together for Syracuse, and out of the box, this team has been phenomenal.
It took a while to get going at speed, at green flag speed, but we're there at the New York State Fairgrounds, and the fans are loving it. 40 laps in, the leader is Brett Hearn. We are on rush hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
We are racing at the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse. It's Super Dirt Week 31, and this is the Eckerd 200. Race leader, the number 3 of Brett Hearn, and right behind him in second, he has won this race 3 of the last 4 years, Billy Decker.
Billy Decker trying to use slower traffic.
3.5 left.
Race scanner is on Billy Decker, the number 91 machine. I wouldn't think there's a whole lot of conversation because these drivers really have their hands full with this track.
You're clear. You know damn well he knows we're there. Let's see if we can force him into making 1-2.
When he says, let's see if he can force him into making 1-2, that is a mistake. Let's see if they can get Brett Hearn to push up the speedway and give an opportunity for Billy Decker to get inside of him for the lead.
Boy might be top of his game, no more. 3 to the FX1, 3.
Hearn leads. Decker right behind.
Boy, Decker got off the corner that time real well.
Let's go down to Mark Kenyon. Mark?
Earlier in the week, they had the Budweiser pit stop competition, and Brett Hearn's crew lost out to Billy Decker's crew. Decker's crew won that competition. Well, it may come down to separating these two cars. The pit stop may do it. And I can tell you right now, the Bud guys are going to be on their game, and the Decker guys are going to be on their game. These are two heavyweights slugging it out here in the mile, and now the crew's going to get involved. It's like a gang war.
They're behind you. You are clear. Behind you. Outside.
There is Decker way low on the front straightaway as he heads into turn 1.
In that pit crew competition, Billy Decker's team All they had to do was change a right rear tire, get the car up, let it down, and go. 17.94 seconds.
My goodness.
Half a day to Horton.
Half a day to Horton means about 3 seconds.
Sure does.
Boy, Frankie Caprara bobbled coming out of 4.
Frankie Caprara, the FX1 out of Watertown, New York.
We are coming up on the quarter point.
If there's a caution within the next 10 laps, I wouldn't be surprised, Doug, to start seeing cars coming down to pit lane. These guys definitely don't want a green flag pit stop because they would go down a lap. A lot of these guys right now starting to talk about pit strategy, what they're going to do, because we're starting to get close to the window.
You know, you might recall that before the race, Billy Decker said we're going to evaluate about 50 laps in and see what's going on, and we're there.
Billy Decker running his own race right now, trying to stay with Brett Hearn, but running his own race. His car is just as good as Hearn's at this point.
The fastest lap of the race thus far has been turned in by Steve Payne at 111.5 miles an hour. Jimmy Horton as the second fastest.
.32 times. They're turning right now. Track is considerably slower, as we mentioned earlier, off the pole speed.
Now you might see a Hearn or a Decker turning a faster lap, but they're in lap traffic right now.
That's right.
And we do have a yellow on the racetrack. Car slowed in turn 2.
AJ Romano in the number 16 machine out of Johnstown, New York. His brother Mike, a competitor as well, down at the Fonda Speedway. Their dad Andy, a longtime competitor. Tough break for AJ.
All right, Shane. They've evaluated their pit stop strategy. What are they going to do?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think you're going to see Brett Hearn.
I don't think so either.
Billy Decker come in. You're going to see some cars come in, though, but I don't think you're going to see top 2 cars coming down pit road.
There's Dave Farney, our dirt official starter, as we are under yellow. This race started under yellow, and it's been green since. And a lot of fast racing under testy conditions here at the New York State Fairgrounds. We're looking along the pit wall to see who might be coming in, and it does look like there will be a little bit of activity.
Doesn't look like there's too much activity in the Decker and Hearn pit area. They seem to just be biding their time, waiting to see what happens.
Caution flag out with 52.
You likely wouldn't see a tire change from one of the leaders, so you look to see if anybody's manning a gas can, and no one is in the leaders' pits. Let's go down to Andy Fusco. Andy?
Well, Doug, I'm down here with a familiar and beloved face. Pastor David Wells, the chaplain of the dirt circuit. Pastor Wells, you're coming off some surgery, but you look pretty fit and surprised and pleased to see you here.
Well, first of all, I want to thank all the people for their prayers and concern. I had a 5-way bypass September 23rd, and last night was my first night, and we're here today, and I'll tell you, it's exciting, and God does hear and answer prayer.
Now, speaking of prayers, our prayers are out for one of the dirt's own, Roger Phelps. Give us an update on his situation.
Well, I understand that Roger Phelps was driving, felt pains in his chest, drove into a health clinic. He was suffering a heart attack. They've discovered a problem with his valve in the back of the heart, which is very hard to reach. So right now he's home under medication. So let's pray this problem can be taken care of and that Roger will have many years. He's a wonderful man and a great driver, and I'm sure we're going to see him back again next year.
Pastor Wells, you're a great man yourself. Glad to see you here in Syracuse. Get inside where it's warm, will you, buddy?
I'll agree with that. Stay tuned. It's going to be a great race.
All right, thank you. The best to you, Pastor Wells. Brett Hearn, Billy Decker, Jimmy Horton, the top 3 here at the New York State Fairgrounds. The top 3, no, No, the top 5, no way. Not into the pits, but there was some activity.
Sure was. 10 cars took the opportunity to come down pit road. Steve Payne in the number 7 X machine, Bobby Varon, Jack Johnson, Kenny Tremont. Didn't get to see, and I'd be interested to know if the Tremont team did switch that helmet. Andy Pichetti, Pat Ward, Jeff Trombley, Dale Blaney also taking the opportunity to come down pit lane.
Just to top off the tank.
Top off the tank, take a look at the right rear tire, see how tire wear is on the cars.
But not change.
Not yet.
And we're set to go back to green flag racing. Brett Hearn fires, and he will have a clean racetrack ahead of him. Let's see what kind of times he can turn in.
Some of these guys that came down the pit road on lap number 53, going to be interesting to see, Doug. Maybe a little strategy, going for that $10,000 halfway bonus.
As we get closer to that point, we'll talk about it, but no one has ever won that bonus and went on to win the race.
That's right. Dave Blaney was the closest. He won the bonus, but came up short, finished second.
He thrilled us, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And his brother Dale, no slouch behind the wheel either.
Nope. Boy, again, Hearn pulls away from Billy Decker by about a second and a half. That last lap, just going green, was 111 miles an hour, 32.4.
Good battle right here. Scott Prentice in the 47, Steve Poirier in the number 28 machine. That's the battle for 5th and 6th, and you have Timmy McCready there in 7th.
And Bauer got by Prentice, so it's Hearn, Decker, Horton, Bauer, and Prentice, the top 5. Almost 112 miles an hour for Brett Hearn that last circuit. There's Jimmy Horton in the 99.
That's Frankie Caprera right behind him. Frankie is a lap down to the leaders.
You know, Horton's a 2-time winner. His deal kind of came together late, as we spoke to earlier. But you know, he's just a guy that is so ready to step into any situation and go fast.
Well, Jimmy Horton is the consummate professional. He's raced in Winston Cup. He's raced in ARCA. Had an incredible streak in the ARCA series. I believe 5 wins in a row. He knows his way around the big tracks. He knows his way around the mile. A 2-time winner. And to come to Syracuse with a new team, no surprise to see him running up front because of his experience.
Prentice, Poirier, and McCready, as the speeds continue to climb. Man, a little bit out of whack there.
Looked like somebody had a little smoke coming off their car.
Timmy?
Looks like it's Scotty Prentice in the 47. Now remember, they just got that motor back today in the Benwood Auto Parts machine.
Let's go down to Andy Fusco.
Thanks, Doug. I'm down here in Kenny Tremont's pit. Talking about the last pit stops, for Steve Payne, it was just gas and go. But here, Kenny Tremont did change the right rear. I just looked at it in the truck. Not much wear at all. It is slightly cupped, but it is hot, about 210 degrees. Doesn't look like tire wear will be that much of a problem, given the fact the temperature's going down.
You wouldn't think it would be, would you?
Not yet, no, not at all. The temperature, the humidity level was very high here at the racetrack. And as Mark Kenyon always alluded to, the higher the humidity, the less tire wear you would have.
There's a look at the 115 of Kenny Tremont. He's got a win here in Syracuse under his belt.
Tremont back in the 30th position in the American Associates, number 115. His dad, Ken Tremont Sr., doing the motors underneath the hood of that car.
Leader continues to be Brett Hearn by about 1.5 seconds over Billy Decker. Jimmy Horton is second. Bauer is third. Bauer fourth. Prentice fifth. Poirier sixth. McCready seventh. Tim McCready. And Doug Hoffman, Danny Johnson, and Billy Pauch rounding out the top 10 as we're 63 laps in.
And look at this battle. Scotty Prentice has his hands full right now as he sits in position number 5, as he's got Steve Poirier, Tim McCready, Doug Hoffman right there in the Dieter Schmidt-owned number 5 machine.
Let's go down to the pits. Mark Kenyon standing by.
I feel like the weatherman down here. The wind just shifted to the west, and there's a little clearing to the west, but directly above us, it's a black cloud. And I think that black cloud is keeping a lot of cars on the speedway right now because they're not sure if it's going to rain or not. And there's only 3 things important right now in the race. That's track position, and track position.
I'm not sure why you'd pit now anyway.
Right. Some guys came in, they were running in the mid to the back of the pack, wanted to top off just in case the leaders did decide to come in. But if there is that cloud, like Mark alluded to, over the speedway and the possibility of rain, over 101 laps as this race is halfway, so anything can happen.
Tim McCready started 10th. He's running 7th and hanging in there. Poirier is getting to like this Moody mile. He recorded his best Syracuse finish ever, the best ever by a French-Canadian driver. Labor Day finished 5th.
And last year in the 358 modified race, he was the rookie of the year. So he's really taken a liking to the Syracuse mile. A lot of drivers don't like to say that, but Steve Poirier seems to feel comfortable here at the track.
The leader is the corporate jet, Brett Hearn out of Sussex, New Jersey. 5-time winner looking for win number 6 here at the Moody Mile. This is Rush Hour and the Eckerd 200.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Action at the New York State Fairgrounds. Doug Logan along with Shane Andrews, the Eckerd 200, and there's 1 and 2 in the form of 3 and 91. Brett Hearn and Billy Decker, your race leaders here in Syracuse, under the lights as we've had a 5-hour plus rain delay.
One of the drivers, Toby Tobias, referred to about possibly being able to use a second groove here on the mile is in the number 74. That is Dale Blaney out of Ohio, former sprint car driver. He is about to go down a lap as Brett Hearn is right there on the back bumper.
Got one slow on the bottom at 4.
1 car slowing, 2 cars slowing on the track. One in the front straightaway into turn 1, and one going into the pits right now. The yellow flag is out. Very interesting point in this race here with 72 laps on the board. Now, what will race strategy hold for these drivers?
Stay with Brett, stay with him.
Looks like there might be a little action down in the pit area with the Brett Hearn crew and also with the Billy Decker crew.
Question I have for you, if Hearn comes in, must Decker?
It's a cat and mouse kind of game. I think you'll see Decker come in if Hearn does. But then again, with Decker going 114 laps last year, he may not need to.
Well, we'll follow the cat and mouse game as they come down the front straightaway. And there is a flurry activity in the Hearn pit and in the Decker pit. Let's go down to Mark Kenyon. Mark?
I'm down in the Hearn pits, and I don't know if these guys are pulling my leg or not. I asked him about a pit window. I said, if you're coming in, when are you coming in? He told me they wanted to come in between laps 75 and 85. 125 miles on a tank of fuel would be biblical. It would be more than a miracle. But the Hearn camp is looks like they're ready for a stop. It looks like they're going to come in. I don't see Brett coming in yet. But that fuel strategy, I asked Dave, 1 stop? He said yes, 1 stop.
I'm not banking on them coming in yet. I wonder if this is a fraud, a fake.
I think you might be right. This is just like we said, it might be a game of cat and mouse. 22-gallon fuel cell on these big block modifieds. Wow, stretching it to 125 laps. That would be something if he could do it.
Brett Hearn is coming in. Brett Hearn is coming in, down to Andy Fusco. Brett Hearn is coming in, and Billy Decker is not coming in. And they're going first to fuel only.
Fuel a can, one fuel in, no tires. No tires on the Hearn stop. I'm going to try to sneak out here and see if I can get a look at that right rear. The right rear is cupped just a little bit, but the Hearn people are not worried about it. The fuel's in, fuel sprays out. Brett Hearn is out cleaning away.
Scotty Prentice is in. Tim McCready is in. But Billy Decker stays out.
Yes, he stretched it before. He could probably do it again. So he'll go another extra 20, 30 laps.
Let's go down to the Decker crew and Andy Fusco.
Okay, I'm right here with Scott Jeffrey right now. He's talking to Billy. As soon as he gets done talking to Billy, he will talk to us. They're literally trying to figure out what they're going to do right now. Bear with us for a second. They saw Hearn go in. They were kind of gauging their strategy on what Hearn would do. Scott, what's the game plan now?
We'll probably wait until the next caution come in and just do the one stop.
The fact that Hearn came in early, does that surprise you?
Not really, but he's just planning on so he can get out of the pits quicker next time when he has to make his final stop. So we'll just have to get quick. That's all.
Now, there's some talk from the Hearn people that they think they might be able to go 125 laps. You're used to miracles. Can you believe that one?
If he has to race the car at all, no, you can't do it. No, not unless you can hold about 30 gallons in your race car.
Guys, you're hearing it from the expert.
And a little further up from the Decker pit, there was an incident in the Alan Johnson pit where a tire was hit. We'll see if we get anything more there. And look at this, there's a tire off. Is that Steve Payne? Steve Payne has lost a left rear tire.
Unbelievable.
Let's see if we can get Andy Fusco up to the Alan Johnson pit to see what happened there. Meanwhile, Steve Payne is minus a left rear. Wow, what drama here in the last couple of minutes.
Steve Payne, the Sweeteners Plus number 7X, coming down pit road. This guy has not had the greatest of season in the big block modified ranks for the Advanced Auto Parts Modified Super Dirt Series. The Canandaigua Speedway track champion opted to run a couple of small block tour races to protect his points in that, and not what he wanted to see here for his 31st Super Dirt week.
Down to Andy Fusco.
Okay, I'm down here in the Steve Payne pit right now. He lost the left rear, and the crew is terribly upset. It's hard to tell exactly what happened. There was an incident on the racetrack, or in the pit lane, I should say, involving Alan Johnson. It was hard to see from our vantage point whether that had anything to do with this situation. I'm going to try to get a word with Steve. Steve, exactly what happened?
I was just talking on the radio. I don't know. I guess they had the left rear tire guy got run over because there's no room in here, and we were all blocked out. And the wheel fell off, and it broke the caliper. We don't have no brakes, so.
Steve Payne's done for the day right now, no brakes, and if there's a guy that has bad luck at Syracuse, it sure is Steve Payne. His time to win this race is long, long overdue, but it won't happen tonight.
Andy, see if you can get down to the Alan Johnson pit and see exactly what happened from their perspective.
Well, such a confined area, the pit area here at Syracuse. When the drivers come in, they throw the cars sideways to give themselves a lane to be able to get out, and everybody cramped up over there at the Payne and Johnson pits.
All right, we're under green, and Billy Decker fires. Billy Decker did not follow Brett Hearn into the pits, and he is the race leader. Let's go back down to the pits and Andy.
Okay, I'm down here with Jamie Beachy. Jamie, what exactly happened with Alan Johnson?
Well, right now we had a lug nut on the left rear getting stuck, so it took us a little while. But when Steve Payne came in, he parked right in front of us, so we couldn't get out. We were blocked. Alan didn't want to go down that way, but we had no choice, unfortunately.
Now, I've heard a report about a crewman getting struck.
No, nobody got hit. Everybody just, it's the heat of the moment deal, that's all.
It may be cold outside, guys, but it's hot down here in the pits.
Oh, my.
Well, there's a lot riding on this race, not only for the drivers, but also for the crews. And unfortunately, nobody injured in that incident.
We'll reset the leaders. Billy Decker, Jimmy Horton runs second currently on the racetrack.
Billy Decker looking for the sweep of the weekend yesterday, winning the Sunoco A+ 358 modified race here at the mile, looking for the doubleheader on the weekend.
I just wonder what Brett Hearn did to his chances of winning this race.
I think we're going to see another caution. That's just my opinion. I think we're going to see another caution. And Hearn coming in, short pitting for gas, setting himself up for track position. Track position is important, especially tonight with the track the way it is. 1.5 groove, so when the cars before him come in, but then he's really going to have to make the fuel mileage work.
Yes, he is. And Billy Decker and his crew, meanwhile, planning on a one-stop pit strategy.
If he can go in 114 laps like he did last year, he would have to come in at lap 86 and beyond.
Let's see if we can get a cooler evaluation of the Brett Hearn situation when we go down to Mark Kenyon. Mark?
You want to talk about unbelievable? I'm down here with Dave Kwasniak. Dave, now come on. It's me and you. Nobody's listening in on TV. You guys are going to try to go one stop. How many laps are you going to have to go to do that?
We think we stopped on lap 75, so it's going to be 125 laps.
And you can go 125 laps on a tank of gas.
With our calculations, we can go at 127.
There you heard it, 127. It's going to make Billy Decker look like, I don't know what, 127? I don't know what to say.
Well, speeds are a bit down.
Yes, they are. They're considerably down. But still, Brett Hearn has to feather that throttle. He has to stay out of harm's way. He has to stay conservative if he wants to make 127 laps. That's unbelievable. But this is Syracuse. You never know.
Well, and right now there's no reason to talk about another pit stop for Brett Hearn because he's not planning on another pit stop.
Right, and that will give him the track position. As Mark alluded to earlier, track position is going to be key here. A couple of other cars that came in on that last caution period. Timmy McCready came in for a right rear tire. Richie Tobias came in for a right rear tire. Billy Pouch came in for gas only, as did Scott Prentice. Pete McNell in the number 1B taking gas only.
There are your leaders. Billy Decker is leading this race as of lap 83. Right behind him, veteran Jimmy Horton. But, they've got to be looking for another yellow flag here.
Well, Jimmy Horton just biding his time back there right now as he is running in position number 2. His pit strategy could possibly be the same as Decker. Go as long as you can and only do it on one stop.
Billy Decker, a familiar scene in front of the pack here at the New York State Fairgrounds. It's the Eckerd 200 on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
At the New York State Fairgrounds, there is your race leader, the number 91 of Billy Decker, who has just turned in the fastest lap thus far in this race.
Carnes of the wall, Kevin Boland in the Elaine James Motorsports number 1 machine, hitting the wall. This is the caution.
There you go. You're all right. You're good.
Now we'll see what strategy.
As soon as they open, get in here. Let's keep her down close to pit wall. Let's not try sliding it all because it's going to be damn slippery here.
I take it that's the Billy Decker crew.
That is Scott Jeffries.
They want you to slow down, Billy. They want you to slow down. They want to collect the field, and then they're going to open it. You are not open yet. Pits are still closed. Just wait.
Meanwhile,
up here,
we're looking at the Brett Hearn pit as well, and there is no activity there.
The cars that are behind Horton are lap cars. You should be fine as far as pit spots. Talk to Scott about the car.
It's currently closed. They'll come around one more time, at least. Working on the Bolin car in turn 2.
Last year, Decker, as we alluded to, 114 laps. Lap number 90 is in the books. It's 110 laps that he can try and make.
All right, Andy Fusco, you're in the Billy Decker pit.
Okay, they're going to bring Billy in right now, Doug. It looks like they're going to change one tire. More importantly, fill it up with fuel. I can guarantee you one thing, This will be Billy Decker's only pit stop of the race, barring misfortune. Now, what the officials tell us they're going to do, they're going to get the field collected behind the pace car before they open up pit lane. Right now, pit lane is closed. Billy Decker will be coming in next time by. Come on down for me for a report in about a half a minute.
Oh yeah, we'll be there, Andy. There's no question about that. This is about the exact time that Billy Decker pitted last year, and as the race went extra laps, he goes 113 laps on a tank of fuel. But the master of fuel conservation may be outmastered by Brett Hearn if that strategy pays off. Let's go back down to the Billy Decker pit.
Decker brings the 91 in. He slides past his pit, but he's pitted in a particular spot in the track where he can get a lot of room. They're changing the left rear. It is going to be a 2-tire stop, not a 1-tire stop. The left rear is off. The new tire is on. The right rear is off. Now they're mounting the right rear. The car's been fueled up with gasoline, and they've made a terrible mistake. The fuel can is stuck on the Decker number 91. They're going to have to bring the car back in the pits. The gas can has stuck on Billy Decker's number 91 for the first.
Now it fell off before he came onto the track. Jimmy Horton is out on the track now, and we'll pick up exactly what the ruling is with Billy Decker.
Unbelievable.
Gas can got stuck. Thing's gonna run out of fuel.
The interesting thing is, did they get all the gas into the car?
So it's a two-pronged problem right now.
And how much damage did it do to the fuel spout?
Andy, you better stay there because it's looking like a stop and go, Andy.
Doug, you're absolutely right. Down here in the Decker pit, the dirt officials have just come over and told Billy Decker they're going to bring him in for a stop and go for having the fuel can not removed from the car when he went back out to the racetrack.
Andy, will he be allowed to take on more fuel when he comes in for the penalty?
Well, I think they probably got the car filled up. That was the second can of fuel, the one that got stuck. So I think the car is full, although Scott Jeffries does have a little bit of gasoline to dump in there, so they're absolutely 100% full. They are overfilling it right now. They've lost track position, so they have nothing to lose. But the story is, for the first time in 5 years at Syracuse, Decker's crew has made a mistake on a pit stop.
And he was able to look out the right side of his car and see Jimmy Horton and Brett Hearn and the entire field of big block modifieds roar past him on the front straightaway, under caution albeit, but he's lost a ton of track position on a night where it's very, very difficult to pass.
Well, everybody pitching in to do what they can, and unfortunately, as Andy alluded to, the first mistake that this Decker crew has made in 5 years, and a costly one for Billy Decker, is he is going to have to start right at the back of the pack.
Brett Hearn currently runs 5th. Jerry Higbee is the leader. Jason Barney 2nd. Jeff Trombley 3rd. Bud Crispin 4th. And Brett Hearn is 5th. Now, a reminder that there is a $10,000 bonus for the man who leads lap number 100. Let's go down to Mark Kenyon. Mark?
I'm down in the Chuck Bauer pit. He rolled in here. The car was not running. They're trying to put 1 can of gas in here. They get it loose. 11 gallons. Now they're struggling with the second can. Bauer sits in the car. The car stalled. He was out of fuel. Chuck Bauer was out of fuel when he rolled in here. The car was dead. They're struggling with the can. Can't seem to get it to go in. Now they get the gas can in. Let me just see if I can see if they get it all. And he was bone dry because they put in 11 gallons of Sunoco. And nothing came out the overflow, so that car was bone dry. Bauer away.
My goodness.
Chuck Bauer, as we alluded to, picking up a Suzuki Triple 20 win earlier on Friday, looking to change his season around.
Now, isn't this story big as we get set to go back green on fuel mileage? Back to Andy. What do you have for us, Andy?
Well, this is a dirt carburetor, guys, and this is the key to fuel mileage. They can do a lot of things with this baby to extend mileage. Change the jets, smaller jets, less gas. They call it leaning it out. But they've also found something else. These carburetors are made to open, the front venturis open first. Then the rear Venturi's open second.
Billy Pouch. Billy Pouch. I'm sorry, we have a car in the wall in turn 2. It's Billy Pouch.
Billy Pouch and the Mrs. T Pierogies, number 114, the Buddy Beaver owned machine out of Frenchtown, New Jersey. He's never won this big block race. He's won here in sprint cars. He's won the 358 race, and it doesn't look like he's going to win.
He's trying to get it going, but he's in the slop there up near the wall. I'm sorry, Andy, back to you.
No, Doug, that was much more important what you were talking about. But let's get back to the fuel mileage story. The front Venturis are made to open first. The rear Venturis open second. However, what some motor builders have found out, if they can delay the back Venturis opening up even slower than they usually do, you increase fuel mileage. And the way to do that is to increase the distance between these two throttle linkages by making this little device, this little linkage, a little bit longer. This increases fuel mileage. Some of the file cars with trick engines are really realizing this to be a way to get a lot of fuel range.
Jerry Higbee, Jason Barney, and Jeff Trombley are 1, 2, and 3 on the track, and you've got to think they're out for a $10,000 bonus to lead lap 100. Meanwhile, Brett Hearn, who may be taking advantage of that carburetor and that fuel mileage strategy, is currently running 4th. He is pitted, and the crew says he is prepared to go the distance.
Well,
won't this be interesting?
Andy says the Tony File motors have that, and Brett Hearn is running a Tony File motor, so specifically coming into Syracuse to get that mileage. That's an Enders motor. I'm sorry, an Enders motor underneath the hood of the Brett Hearn number 3. Kevin Enders, the builder of that motor.
We can tell you that Tobias is being penalized 2 spots for jumping the last restart. That's the latest up to date. There's a look at the corporate jet. Brett Hearn currently running in contention, currently placed now in 5th place, but in position to be a race leader after a flurry of pit stops. We'll be back to the Moody Mile, the New York State Fairgrounds. This is the Eckerd 200 on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
At the New York State Fairgrounds, back under green, and your race leader is the 97 of Jerry Higbee, with Jason Barney second, followed by Jeff Trombley and Bud Crispin.
Jerry Higbee, a regular down at the Orange County Fair Speedway in the number 97 machine. I have him listed pitting on lap number 53.
And we have him listed, ticketed at least, for $10,000 as he comes into turn 4 and down the front straightaway. If he gets to the midway point, he will win $10,000 as the race leader. Thank you, Budweiser, for all that you do. And this Bud and $10,000 is for Jerry Higbee.
Jason Barney running in position number 2. He's a race rookie out of the John White Racing Stable. This is the Stadium International number 87 machine.
Well, let's go down to Andy Fusco and see how the Higbee crew is feeling about this.
Well, I'm down here with Todd Van Sickle. Todd, you're the crew chief on Higbee's car. You guys are $10,000 richer. How does that feel?
Yeah, we're real happy. We're basically still looking to win the race. We got a lot of cars behind us that have to go 110 miles to beat us, and we don't think a lot of them can do it.
Did you plan on winning the halfway bonus?
No, we didn't. We just, with the track being one lane the way it is, it's really hard to get a yellow out there, so we didn't want to get caught out there having to make a green flag stop with fuel, which has never really happened here, but we thought it could today, so we wanted to get fuel early, and that was our plan.
Well, they say this Bud's for you. This $10,000 is for Higbee.
And this yellow flag is for Tim McCready. Well, it looks like the yellow might not come out. Tim McCready heads into the pits. And he stalled.
Tough break for Tim McCready, the Syracuse frame, Finch's Motorsports number 56 ride.
They're going to have to go yellow. Let's go down to Mark Kenyon.
Timmy McCready pulled in the entrance of the pit. The track workers went down, and a bunch of ambulance people went down. They're going to push him back here. I don't see much action in the pits here with McCready's guys. So I can't really tell what's going on. Looks like he's going behind the wall. I'll try to get a word for him. Come back to me a little bit.
Well, the McCready family now out of this race.
And Tim McCready came into this race third in the Advanced Auto Parts Modified Super Dirt Series points. A tough break for the second-generation driver out of Watertown.
You had a little glimpse of Mark Kenyon charging after Timmy McCready. If any pit reporters in the world will get the story, it'll be Mark Kenyon and Andy Fusco.
Something I noticed on Jerry Higbee's number 97 the last time we were at Speed, when he went down into turn number 1, I thought I saw some orange glow coming from the brake rotors on the machine. We'll have to keep our eye on that. Yesterday in the USAC race, Richie Tobias lost his brakes, and it ended up ultimately costing him the race as he carried too much speed into the corners. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. Gas mileage, of course, premium here, but interesting to see the brakes on the 97 of Higbee.
We've turned the corner on the midway point of this race. There's another car stalled.
Yeah, that's the number 17 of Rob Pitcher. He won the non-qualifiers race earlier today to get into this race.
You know what? Tim McCready started on the pole last year, but he has not had a good deal of fortune in the Eckerd 200.
No, he hasn't. 26th, 25th, 40, 38th, and a 38th. That's every year since 1997. Timmy McCready has had no luck here at this track.
But he does have, he is a one-class act, a real gentleman. Let's go down to Mark Kenyon.
Timmy McCready climbs out of the car. He pulls the car and wipes his eye. He's got something in his eye here. Give you a chance to straighten out. Timmy, what happened out there?
I don't know. It's something in the drive line. I think, I don't know. They got to take a little bit better care of this facility. That pit road's ridiculous coming off of it. There's a 20-foot drop, and I'm sure we knocked the torque arm bolt out of the torque arm coming off a pit road after that pit stop. And of course, the torque arm started hitting the drive shaft, and then hence we're out of the race because, you know, what are you going to do? I got to thank, you know, everybody that puts this deal together because I don't make any predictions, but we did that right this time. We took tires and then we took gas this last stop, and we were done for the day. You know, we were all set to go. So those guys did a hell of a job back there, and I got to thank them.
Tell me about conditions out there. How is the track? Is it passable, raceable? What do you feel? How do you feel?
Oh, it's gotten better. You know, it's still got some wet spots in it, but it's come around. This is what we do. They wanted to get it in tonight, and unfortunately, it's just so hard to see at night. And but you know, what are you going to do? We're locked into a points thing, and we got to keep running for the points. And so we're kind of got our hands tied, I guess you could say. We're at the mercy of the guys that run the deal. So we'll go out and race and go to Fonda, Syracuse Frame Service, FX Caprera. You know, I'm sorry, guys, but we did, like I said, we did it right this time. Last year we did it wrong because we couldn't make it, but this year we did it right and could. So we're going to finish sooner or later.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll go on a prediction right now. This guy's not going to be in victory lane tonight, but I'll make a prediction right now. You will see Tim McCready in victory lane here at Syracuse. Back to you guys.
Well, thank you, and thanks to Tim McCready, a real class act. Bud Chrisman in the number 18 is the race leader, and look who is right behind Bud. Brett Hearn. And of course, the story with Brett Hearn is going to get nothing but more electric as this day goes along.
Sure is.
Because he's looking to go 125 laps.
Unheard of here at Syracuse, but if anybody could make it work, Brett Hearn could do it.
And he was almost taken out early in the race by a lap car.
Sitting back there in third, the number 74, that's Dale Blaney. His brother, Dave, has put on some good shows here. Now Dale putting himself in position.
Dale Hearn trying to get by Chrisman, can't do it. Bud Chrisman continues to lead into turn 3.
Someone we can't discount right now, Doug, is sitting back there in position number 4, Pete Bicknell in the number 1B. He led a lot of laps here last year, and he is working on Blaney for position number 3.
My goodness, Hearn is right on the back bumper of Bud Chrisman. And Dale Blaney tried to get a nose underneath Brett Hearn.
Brett Hearn that last lap a little bit quicker than Bud Chrisman.
Another car on the wall in turn 2. That's Frankie Caprera. Yep. And the yellow will come out.
Frankie Caprara out of Watertown, New York. The FX Caprara Car Company's Mannheim Auto Auction, number FX1, putting together his own big block deal for 2002.
And as the yellow flags become a bit more prevalent, this does play into the race strategy of Brett Hearn.
Sure does. It's less that he is on the throttle. It allows him to coast the car around and to conserve the gas.
Billy Decker, meanwhile, is in 15th position. And that's a lot of track position behind Brett Hearn. And our race leader, Bud Chrisman.
And Decker has some very good cars in front of him. Doug Hoffman, Jack Johnson, Gary Tompkins, and Alan Johnson, just to name a few.
Yeah, let's see if Kevin Kovac can tell us when these fellas pitted. Bud Chrisman and Brett Hearn and Dale Blaney and Pete Bicknell. Blaney, we are told, lap 53. Well, he'll be coming into the pits again.
147 laps, and here he comes right now. And Pete Bicknell following him down.
And that takes care of that from a track position standpoint. Bud Chrisman stays out. Brett Hearn right behind him. Scott Prentice back up to third.
Smith Brothers Racing Team going to work on the number 74 of Dale Blaney. Pete Bicknell came in lap number 73, if I'm not mistaken, the last time that Bicknell was in. Took on a right rear tire, might have even taken on a left rear and some more gas.
And remember, it was the Hearn crew that said that they felt Brett could go 127. That would be right on target for Pete Bicknell as well. Well, it's a very interesting situation unfolding here at the New York State Fairgrounds as we have another car stalled on the track. We'll pick that up when we come back. This is the Eckerd 200 on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Back at the New York State Fairgrounds, production support for Rush Hour on Dirt is provided by United Rentals, one of the country's largest suppliers of aerial lifts. They extend every effort to get your job done. United Rentals. Hello, gang. How are you enjoying your day here at the New York State Fairgrounds? It's been a long one, but we're being rewarded with some very exciting racing. And we're back to green with Bud Chrisman leading Brett Hearn to the green flag. Scott Prentice is third. Kenny Tremont Jr. is fourth. And Jimmy Horton is fifth. And we're going down to Andy Fusco.
This is Jerry Brophy. He's the crew chief for Buddy Chrisman. Jerry, I got 3 questions for you. What lap did you come in?
We came in on 73.
Now, that was before Brett Hearn. Question number 2, are you going to make another pit stop?
No, we're going all the way.
Last question, who builds your motors?
Kevin Enders does the motors, and Steve Baker does the carburetors. We spent a lot of money this year on fuel research, and I'd say that's about 10 laps before the window I really wanted to come in at, but I can't take a chance of that thing coming out in 90 or 100 because that doesn't play into our hands. So I'm a little nervous right now, but it should be fun. We got a good race car. See what happens.
This one's going to get interesting.
Hey, Andy, haven't all these crews had to reevaluate the fuel consumption thing, all based on what Billy Decker's accomplished?
That's exactly what they've done, Doug. As a matter of fact, a lot of the teams have built custom fuel cells for this race. The rule in dirt for the fuel cells, they went out and dirt measured up the outside diameter of a 22-gallon cell and said, okay, here's the rule. However, a lot of these crews have learned that you can fit a 27-gallon bladder in a 22-gallon cell. So these cars have about 5 extra gallons of capacity.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Andy. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this all pans out. 2 cars in trouble, Trombley and Yaley.
J.J. Yaley driving the Thumb Racing number 12T, the newest member of the USAC Silver Crown Championship ranks, picking up that yesterday here at the mile. Jeff Trombley, the Fonda Speedway 2002 track champion, also involved with the number 21J.
All right, let's amplify on the situation that Andy Fusco was just talking about. 4 of the top 5 drivers on the track right now have Ender's engines. And meanwhile, let's talk about when these cars pitted, as we have this yellow flag out here, which plays into the hands of those folks who are playing the fuel consumption game. When did these guys pit?
Well, the top 3 of Bud Chrisman, Brett Hearn, and Scott Prentice all came in on lap number 74. Kenny Tremont, Jimmy Horton, Danny Johnson, Tim Fuller, Alan Johnson all came in on lap number 91. Doug Hoffman, who is currently 9th on the grid, came in on lap number 92, and Gary Tompkins, who is rounding out the top 10, also came in on lap number 91.
It looks like Scott Prentice is headed into the pits. Scott Prentice, running in 3rd place, is into the pits.
Probably coming in just to top off the gas and take a look at the right rear tire and the left rear to make sure everything is A-okay. And they will do that as they will get some of that Sunoco race fuel to go the rest of the distance.
So Prentice in on lap 74 and again on 117.
Something I noticed too on the Prentice pit stop, you notice the fuel can man, he's wearing a protective fire suit and a helmet. A nice move by the Prentice crew to protect their crew.
Not a bad idea. Much excitement coming your way. It's the Eckerd 200 and we are on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Back at the New York State Fairgrounds, and we have a massive pileup on the back stretch, and we had at least 1 car go over.
Yes, you can see we've got a bunch of cars. Jason Barney's 87, the Blaney number 74, the 47 of Scott Prentice, Chuck Bowers, number 99B Machine. Looks like the Freightliner car, I'm not sure, but yes, that is Higbee, and Frankie Caprera also involved, and I think that may be Dave Hebert's car, the other Freightliner in the far background by the safety truck.
And so we have the emergency medical crews coming on the way there. A massive pileup, and there is well, it looks like we have movement in these machines, though. So Pete Bicknell.
Pete Bicknell right here in the front of our screen.
Well, let me just tell you the way I saw it on the back straightaway. The race leader, Bud Chrisman, was going very, very slowly for this restart, and I wonder if this wasn't caused by folks having to put on the binders.
Well, when Bud Chrisman was setting the pace, he got right on the binders doing a slow restart, and we could hear the spotters on the radios hollering to their crews, green, 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 and everybody took off.
Let's take a look here. You see the pace car going in. This is down the back straightaway, and there's a cone before you get to turn 3, which is where you are to fire. Now, Christmas going very slowly. Look at these cars jumbling all over the place. This is all caused by the slowness of the cars up front. And look at this. Oh, my.
Matt Shepard right there in the 28, getting by. Oh, Poirier going on top of another car.
Coming down on the top of a car. Look at the collisions.
Scott Prentice, no place to go. Hit Pete Bicknell a ton. Pete Bicknell hammered over there in the back straightaway.
Well, we'll take a look at it again, I'm sure. Do you agree with the cause?
One of two things could have happened. Either Chrisman was setting a slow pace to
which
conserve,
he was.
or he hit the gas. And we talked about those Venturis in the carburetor, and Mark Kenyon or Andy Fusco can elaborate more on this. There might have been a bigger rush of gas into the carburetor, caused the car to bog down.
And meanwhile, of course, the spotters are saying green, 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 and so everyone is ready to gun. And then you've got a real problem on a bit of a testy track. Let's hope everyone is okay. Poirier is out walking, appears to be okay, and he took one heck of a hit.
Oh, he sure did. Rob Pitcher's number 17 car also involved over there.
Let's go down to Mark Kenyon. Mark?
The other day in the triple 20s, Billy Pouch went to fire. He was in second spot. Looked like he had a chance to win one of the triple 20s. He stepped on the gas. The carburetor just coughed. These guys got these carburetors tuned for maximum fuel mileage, and they're trying to roll on gently with the start. Guys in the back are going to jumble up, but that's the way these guys are going to have to do to stretch their fuel mileage. Buddy and Brett, I would suspect, had the same carburetor setup. These guys are banking, they're going. It's too late now. They've committed to go this distance, and they're going to have to save fuel everywhere they can. Bud Chrisman is a master at it.
Look at the tangled mess on the backstretch, and let's take a look at this in real time. So you're going to see what an incredible crash this was, involving so many of these big block modifieds. Look at how slow this lead car is going.
And this is where it all starts up right here. Everybody getting jumbled up behind.
Now watch right side of your screen. You're going to see one heck of a hit. Whammo!
Oh, that's Eddie Marshall. That is underneath the Poirier number 28 machine, the number 98. And did you see that front axle come flying out? That has to be off, I believe, the Caprara car.
Yeah, we'll wait for some report, when we certainly hope that everyone is okay. Let's go down to Andy Fusco. Andy, you're at the wreck scene?
I got Jerry Higbee. Jerry, what exactly happened?
Well, I don't know what happened. It happened up toward the front. We had just pitted. We led the 100th lap. We were happy with that, and we were all set with fuel. And come down the backstretch, and everybody up front, you speed up really fast, and then getting into 3, you slow down a lot. So speeding up and slow down, I think everybody just gets jumbled up, and then guys in the back, it's hard to slow down. Everybody just piled into one another, but everybody's okay, and these cars can be fixed. So,
Doug and Shane, I'm going to talk to a couple more drivers if it's possible. These cars are really mangled. I hope no one's hurt.
Yeah, well, we'll look forward.
I can talk to anyway.
That's good. That's good. A little bit of reassurance right there. But Andy, stay on that. Boy, Steve Poirier, what a whack he took.
Oh, Steve Poirier was right over the top of the number 98 of Eddie Marshall. And look at the Bicknell number 1B. He took a shot on the back straightaway. And when he got hit, the cars are at least 3/4 of speed when they got to him. And Doug, we've been talking about how the motor department has come so far here at the track as far as the fuel mileage and everything. But we've got to give a shout out to how well these cars are built to protect these drivers. The technology in just the protection of the roll cage and everything over the last 20 years keeps these drivers safe.
Back down to Andy.
Here in the ambulance, believe it or not, riding back to the pit scene, and it looks like the All-Star League with some of the favorites here. We'll go right around the room. First of all, Marshall, how do you feel and what happened?
I'm fine. Neck's a little sore. Just one of those Syracuse deals. Cars got bunched up on the restart. A bunch of cars turned sideways. The track blocked. Nowheres for anyone to go, and that was that.
Steve Poirier, what's your take on the deal? I'm sorry. Where's Steve? He's not in here. Okay. Pete Bignell, what's your take on this?
Well, just the same thing. They seemed like the leaders started to go, and we said it was green was out, and we all started going real fast out of turn 2 there, and all of a sudden it seemed like the front pack just started to slow down, and they started to bunch up. Couldn't see anything. Just started driving in, and everybody trying to stop. You're just running into each other.
Dale Blaney, and what?
Like you said, they said go green, and you just want to get as good a start as you can down the back straightaway. But they started hollering, and it's a dark over there. I couldn't see anything, and I seen a bunch of cars. I just shut my eyes and come to a stop. So just kind of a bad deal.
Okay, they're telling me I'm breaking up here in the ambulance, so I'm going to have to cut short. But for you, Dale, is this easier or harder than the end?
Right now, it's a little harder.
Back up to you.
All right. The cars are stopped coming out of turn 2. And first of all, our observation is it's miraculous that everyone appears to be okay, because you saw the mess that some of these cars have been made.
And Doug, you and I, not only up here in the broadcast booth, but we're race fans, and we were glad to see that all those drivers are okay.
And whether his car failed to fire or otherwise, Bud Chrisman was going very, very slowly as he was in the second part of the backstretch heading toward turn 3 for this restart. And it's obvious as you see the replay that everybody got on the gas, then got on the binders, and it was a real problem. here on the backstretch at the New York State Fairgrounds. 120 laps in, 80 laps to go. This is the Eckerd 200. We now have a red flag situation at the New York State Fairgrounds.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Back at the New York State Fairgrounds, and oh yes, do whatever you can to be warm on this cool evening here. We had a change of seasons in one day here in Syracuse. What that can happen. Turning Stone Casino Resort is the official caterer for Dirt TV during Super Dirt Week. Turning Stone Casino Resort is a 4-star resort just 30 minutes east of Syracuse at exit 33 of the New York State Thruway. See all your favorite drivers at the 2002 Dirt Motorsports Awards Banquet, November 23rd. My birthday. Bring the cake at the Turning Stone Casino Resort. Call Dirt Headquarters for more information. Back to Andy Fusco.
Here with Jason Barney, another one of the drivers who were involved in the crash. First of all, Jason, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. A little bruised up, I think. Knocked the wind out of me there for a little while. I couldn't talk to my guys. I bet you they're still asking if I'm all right, but I don't know what happened. You know, I come out of the pits and it gets so dark back here, you know, racing at night I think is a tough deal, but you know, get halfway down the straightaway and it gets so black and dark, and all I saw was dust, and I was at the back of the pack, and next thing I know, I saw 3 cars sideways in front of me and got on the brakes, and I don't think the guys behind me saw me and just started packing up like dominoes. You know, they just started pushing one another back and forth into each other, and I don't know, the last thing I saw was just me ending up in the infield, but it's just too bad the car owners and the drivers got to go through this stuff. You know, you spend a lot of money, a lot of time to come to this race, and something like this happens, but, you know, I guess it's tough luck.
Gave the Stadium 87 number 87 a really good ride tonight. Everybody's okay here. To you, Mark Kenyon.
I'm down here with Jerry Brophy, Warnock Automotive. Jerry, there's some concern maybe there was a problem with Bud's car. Tell us about the restart.
I guess they're saying that Bud started a little late on that restart down there in 3, but the restart before, the flagger got on him for starting a little bit early. So we talked about, I didn't want to get penalized at all or anything. You know, I said, Bud, make sure you get to that cone before you start, and that's what he did. But as far as I'm concerned, the leader fires the race and everybody else follows. All these guys have spotters, you know, green, 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 when the guy goes, and that's the end of it. But I got back on the radio with him now, and I said, look, you get to that cone or a car length before that cone, fire that thing and go. So there's no problems. I mean, we're not looking to cause any problems. We don't want to get penalized. We don't want to go early either. You know, so we talked about this all week. We went out on the track with a 4-wheeler before. We spotted the cone. We got the whole deal going. So I just told him, you get to that cone, you go. Don't worry about going a little bit early. You go, and that's it. And set the pace of the race like you've been doing. Don't worry about it.
Well, they're all set down here in the Hearn thing. That's it. They're in the Kritzman pit. The leader's going to set the race. Jerry's not going to fire. You won't see him fire until he hits that cone.
And you won't see him fire next time until Brett Hearn fires, because Brett Hearn is listed as our race leader. We all remarked in the broadcast booth how slowly Bud Crispin was going down the backstretch, and we did hear green, green, green before Bud Crispin fired, and we're going to see this replay one more time at least. A very critical juncture in this race.
Well, we can't see where the cone is, but we can see where the cars start to fire. There's the restart cone as it now comes into play.
And you see him accelerate, but the damage has been done behind him. And perhaps you can say that's 100% accurate, that it is a spotter's problem other than Bud Crispin's, because he clearly did not. He was going very slowly, but he did fire at the cone. Agree?
Unbelievable. I'll agree. He did fire at the cone, just like his crew chief just said.
And you did hear people say green, green, green before Bud Crispin fired. And there is a look. And my goodness, there's wreckage. We continue to be under a red flag here at the New York State Fairgrounds. 120 laps in the books. 80 remaining in the Eckerd 200.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Scary moment, but nonetheless, everybody is okay.
All right, well, let's get the latest from a very, very active Andy Fusco.
Thanks, Doug. The Rookie of the Year leading candidate on the dirt circuit this year is Steve Gray. He was one of the ones involved in that crash, and his number 29 is mangled. But, Steve, you look like you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I'm in pretty good shape. Car's in pretty bad shape. It's just one of them Syracuse deals.
Explain to us from your vantage point what happened.
Looked like the leader just took a brake check there on the back straightaway when it got to the cone, caused everybody to pile up. Just one of them deals. Nobody had anywhere to go, and unfortunately, there's got to be at least 13 guys involved, and it's a bad deal for everybody.
A bad deal indeed, Doug.
A brake check. Interesting. The leader is Bud Chrisman. As we are in motion once again at the New York State Fairgrounds, back with green flag racing after this timeout on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Back at the New York State Fairgrounds, and the fans are seeing a wild one here in the 2002 Eckerd 200. Eastern States Weekend. It's a Rush Hour on Dirt, October 26th and 27th at Orange County Fair Speedway. Dynamax, Eastern States. Are we looking forward to that?
Well, the field just coming off a red flag period. They are not counting laps. They will pick it up on lap number 121.
Still 2 laps around this track. We're talking about a razor-thin margin for the Bud Chrismans and the Brett Hearns of the world, who pitted back on lap 74.
Well, they've had a chance to sit in their cars, talk to their crews, discuss how they've been working the throttle, how they've been setting their paces, getting ready for the restarts. And these caution laps don't hurt, but you have to wonder 2 additional laps now.
Let's see how this restart goes with Bud Chrisman. He fires midway down the back straightaway. This is a much more natural start, albeit they do stress that cone. And there is your race for the lead as they swing around turn 4 and down the front straightaway.
Bud Chrisman opening up 2, now 3 car lengths on Brett Hearn. Kenny Tremont back there in the 3rd position. Jimmy Horton in the number 99 sitting back there in position number 4. Brett Hearn really getting a good run off of corner number 2, able to close in on the Chrisman number 18 machine.
The race leaders come down the front straightaway. Bud Chrisman leads, Brett Hearn 2nd, Tremont 3rd, Horton 4th, Danny Johnson 5th.
Look at the line, 2 different lines that they're taking off of turn number 2. Bud Chrisman staying to the lower portion of the speedway. Brett Hearn letting it drift out a little bit more and trying to diamond the corner to get a better run, keep the car straighter down the back stretch.
Just since we have been talking about fuel consumption, fuel mileage all race long, Chrisman number 1, Hearn number 2. They pitted on lap 74. Kenny Tremont 3rd, Jimmy Horton 4th. They pitted on lap 91, as did the 5th place runner, Danny Johnson.
Well, as we see by the math, that Chrisman and Hearn are going to have to go 126 laps. Kenny Tremont will only need to go 101 laps, as well as Jimmy Horton. So if the 2 top runners right now run out of gas late in the stages, Kenny Tremont and Jimmy Horton are going to be right there to pick up the pieces.
And Billy Decker, who first of all was running 2nd behind Hearn, did not pit when the race leader came in, pitted then on lap 91, and as he exited the pit, still had the gas can attached to his car, was given a stop-and-go penalty and lost great track position. He currently runs 9th. But he's got a lot of fast competitors he has to pass.
And he's got a very fast car underneath him as he just turned in a 31 second lap. So Billy Decker, he's in contention. He's just got to pass a lot of good cars.
All these cars up front, all the way to Alan Johnson, all the way to Doug Hoffman in 8th, Billy Decker 9th. I'm not so sure about Jack Johnson, but they're not expecting to pit.
No. 76 laps remaining. These guys are going to try and stretch it to the end.
The top 9 not expecting to pit, and it may go beyond that. Oh my, Decker's letting it hang out.
Sure is. He knows he only has 75 laps to get to the front. Now, we've seen Billy Decker here at the mile before on either the Labor Day race or the 4th of July race. Actually, the 4th of July race, the 75 lapper there, make bonsai charges to the front of the field. He could do it again.
To answer your question about Jack Johnson, who runs 10th, yes, he pitted on lap 91 as well.
Now we're starting to see Kenny Tremont in the number 115, starting to reel in the top 2 cars, and you can see the glow from Bud Chrisman's brakes as he goes into corner number 1. Really working the brakes hard, carrying a lot of straightaway speed, and here goes Hearn to the inside.
Let's see, Hearn gets a nose underneath Chrisman on the back straightaway, and he's coming up on slower traffic, and he has to back off in turn 3.
And Bud Chrisman gets bobbled up behind Kevin Boland. Everybody's been having trouble getting around Boland, and Hearn's going to go to the top.
Oh my, there may be contact. Hearn goes way out deep. Can he hang on? Yes, he can, but there's a massive pass. And it's Kenny Tremont who leads the Eckerd 200.
And look who followed him through, Doug. Jimmy Horton in the number 99. Wow.
And now Hearn, who has been fastest all week, runs 3rd, and he's moving right in on Horton.
And Kenny Tremont, as we alluded to, pitted on lap number 91.
And once again, hair-raising activity involving a lap car.
Kevin Boland, everybody's been trying to get around him. He's been tough to get by.
Kenny Tremont, your race leader. Horton, Jimmy Horton, 2nd. Brett Hearn, 3rd.
Kenny Tremont, perennial Lebanon Valley Speedway champion, former winner of this race. Lost the Lebanon Valley Speedway Track Championship on the final night of racing this year to Brett Hearn. The motor expired underneath the hood of the number 115.
Tremont the winner here in 1998. There is your top 5 as we had a jumble involving that lap car.
Kenny Tremont started in the 19th position, has been very quiet this Super Dirt week, has not made a lot of noise.
He's making it now.
He sure is, and the whole world knows it.
And it was an opportunistic pass.
That's part of racing at Syracuse. Sometimes luck comes to you, sometimes you make your own luck, and Kenny Tremont made his own luck that time by getting by Bud Chrisman and Brett Hearn.
And Kenny Tremont has just turned the fastest lap of the night. 31.48. That equates to 114.4 miles per hour.
Well, his dad, Ken Sr., does the power plants underneath the hood of the number 115. And look at the lead that Tremont has opened up considerably here on the rest of the field. On Jimmy Horton, who runs back there in position number 2, almost 3.5 seconds.
Let's go down to Andy Fusco in the Tremont pit.
I'm down here with Abe Tremont, Kenny Tremont Sr. Your son just turned the fastest lap of the race. You build a mean motor.
Yeah, so far so good. Like I said, we got to do 110 laps here with this since this last fuel stop. So, good Lord willing, everything works out all right. We'll be all set.
Now you got to do 110. The guys behind you have to do more than that. This has got to be Brett Hearn's worst nightmare, being behind a car that's faster, who's got less chance of running out of gas. You race with Hearn every Saturday night. Does this surprise you?
Yeah, I'm sure he's worried about fuel too. I think he's got 120 some laps, but I mean, hey, the cautions are going to come into play here, so we'll have to see what happens.
Okay, that's the report down here at the Kenny Tremont pit, guys.
And Tremont is running the same car he drove to the 1999 Eckerd 200 win, a 98 Troyer 4-link. Let's go down to Mark Kenyon.
I'm down here in the Hearn pit. Is he saying anything to you on the radio?
We're good to go on gas. It's just hoping that the tires stay good, that's all.
You guys are a fairly new crew. You put this deal together in like 2 weeks. Are you surprised to be where you are right now?
Not a bit. We got all good people.
There you go. These guys were offshore boat racers at one time, and they know how to win on the water and pretty soon maybe on the land.
John Raban, the owner of that modified by Jimmy Horton in the number 99, dirt modified and dirt late model owner, driven by Alan Dellinger out of Western Pennsylvania, teaming up with Jimmy Horton this Super Dirt Week, and they're putting together a fantastic run as they sit in second.
And we have a car slowed and heading into the pits.
Chuck Bauer, the Courier Plastics number 99B out of Lansing, New York. His day looks like it's coming to an end.
Kenny Tremont has the largest lead we've seen here all week. He's got almost a 5.5 second lead on Jimmy Horton. Look at the interval. What's that all about?
Wow, that is just pure power at its finest. And of course, he's up front running in clean air, no traffic to deal with right now. And you know, we talk about how guys feel comfortable in certain race cars. Billy Decker bringing with him a car that he's won 3 out of the last 4 years with. Here's Kenny Tremont, as we talked about, driving the same car he won the Eckerd 200 with in 1999, and he finished second with this car last year. He feels comfortable in this machine, and feeling comfortable at a racetrack like Syracuse is very important.
I'm wondering if, and I don't recall if Tremont took on tires, and if that's the reason why he's pulled out this huge lead. A 6-second lead now over Jimmy Horton. Let's take a look at that jingle in turn 3 and 4, and look at the contact once and twice between Chrisman and Hearn. They go way wide around that lap car, and here come Tremont and Horton. Wow!
Heads-up piece of driving by Kenny Tremont and Jimmy Horton. They saw both Chrisman and Hearn skate up the top side of the speedway, and the door opened, and they walked right through.
The leader by more than 6 seconds over Jimmy Horton. You don't see that.
No.
Look at the interval. Of course, a yellow would change all that.
I think Kenny Tremont, even if he did get a yellow, would still be able to open up this much of a lead. His car seems to be handling so much better through the turns than both Horton and Brett Hearn right there in the number 3 machine. He's not drifting up as far through the corner as both of those cars are.
Kenny Tremont has almost a full straightaway lead.
That's a big lead considering how big this racetrack is.
Hearn made a quick move on Horton, and then he really hasn't challenged Jimmy Horton since, and I wonder if he's thinking, I better not race this car out of fuel.
Well, he could be thinking that. 127 laps is a long ways to go here on the mile. He might have just backed it off a little bit. Of course, Hearn probably wanted to get out in front as well to get that clean air through the motor to help him conserve.
All right, let's go back down to the pits and see what is going on with Kenny Tremont, who now leads by 7.2 seconds.
Well, Doug, you asked a real good question about tires. Here's the story. As you'll remember, back on about lap 50 or so, when Tremont made his first stop, they did change both rears. But on lap 90, when he made his second stop, they didn't change any tires. So right now, Kenny Tremont's tires are kind of fresh. But as we get in the late stages of the race, he'll have 40 laps more on his rear tires than the competition. That could loom large.
Thank you.
You know, the Valley Drivers, the Lebanon Valley Speedway Drivers, a very fast place to race on Saturday nights. Kenny Tremont enjoys the success here at the mile in the 358 modified division and also in the big block division. A lot of that has to do with the speeds of the Lebanon Valley Speedway. It's high banked and they really motor around that track. So Kenny Tremont, no stranger to fast speeds, especially when he comes here to the mile.
And remember, while Kenny Tremont won this Eckerd 200 in 1999, he finished second last year, so he's used to running up front.
Bud Chrisman still, look at those rotors glow. We noticed that earlier today. He's really getting on the brakes to set the car up through the corners.
Isn't that something?
Well, they're carrying a lot of speed down the back straightaways. If they're averaging 115, 116 miles on a one lap, they're hitting over 130, 135 miles an hour in the straightaways.
Last lap, Horton was a half a second, half a tick faster than Kenny Tremont.
But that half a tick only brought it down to a little less than 7 seconds.
Still a long way to go.
You can see one car looming in the background behind Bud Chrisman, someone we haven't really talked about too much today. Danny Johnson in the number 14 New York car out of the J-Baum Racing Stables. Raced at the Middletown Speedway, the Orange County Fair Speedway this season. Changed his number, usually runs the number 27J, running the number 14. It's a number that his dad used to run when he raced and wanted to just run that 14 for his sake here at the mile.
Jimmy Horton now trails by 5.3 seconds, so he is definitely gaining on Kenny Tremont. In fact, he turned a lap 1 second faster than Tremont this last lap.
I wonder if Tremont has backed off just a little bit to kind of conserve, because he does have to go 101 laps on a tank of fuel. He opened up a big lead. Now he has a little bit to play with. I think you'll see if Kenny Tremont starts to feel some pressure from Jimmy Horton, he may put the spurs back to the pony.
Now Kenny Tremont is coming into some lap traffic. Back down to Andy Fusco.
Doug, let's talk about Brett Hearn for a second. You know, Mike Tyson said everybody's got a plan until they get hit. I think the same thing may apply to Brett Hearn right now. He couldn't in a million years have imagined that he'd be third on the grid behind two cars that pitted later than him at this juncture of the race. And here's why that's big. These cars use a lot more fuel when you're following somebody. A Winston Cup car following somebody conserves fuel, but in a dirt modified, when you're out front all by yourself and you can feather foot it, you can save fuel. Right now, Brett Hearn having to try to chase Jimmy Horton and then try to catch Kenny Tremont, that is his worst nightmare.
Well, and Andy, I'll tell you, Brett Hearn couldn't have dreamed that the competition that would have given him the most headaches in the Eckerd 200 would be that of a lap car, Kevin Bolin. Twice.
Well, I'll say this much. Kevin Bolin gave Bob McCready fits at Eldora 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, maybe he could have imagined that one.
All right.
A lot of truth to that. Kevin Bolin, a tough and fierce competitor, didn't want to go down a lap. All these guys, a lot of pride, a lot of money riding on the line. Every position matters to these drivers. Brett Hearn setting a new track record in qualifying earlier this week. Picked up his 8th consecutive Suzuki Triple 20 qualifying win on Friday. 8 years in a row, he has won a Triple 20 qualifying race. And back in 1996, he didn't only win one, he won 2 of them.
Now let me say this to you as well, as Kenny Tremont is into lap traffic. And remember, it is so difficult to pass. The lead over Jimmy Horton is now less than 2 seconds.
Doug Hoffman in the Dieter Schmidt-owned Lincoln Auto Body number 5 out of Allentown, Pennsylvania, former winner of this race, pulling his machine behind the wall.
With 50 laps to go, it's Kenny Tremont leading. Jimmy Horton is in second place, but obviously closing. Brett Hearn is third. Bud Crispin fourth. Danny Johnson is fifth. The lead has shrunk to 1.2 seconds.
And Jimmy Horton reeling him in. You can see Kenny Tremont, the second car on your screen. Jimmy Horton right behind him. And
he can't get past the lap traffic.
He can't, and that's been, it seems to be the story here today. Everybody's had a little trouble with their own little lap traffic battles.
Our scanners on Tremont. And there's Jimmy Horton brushed the wall.
And that cost him some ground that he had on Brett Hearn, and it's also going to cost him ground on what he was gaining on Kenny Tremont.
Let's see if it cost him his steering.
Car low in turn 1.
He looks to be okay. My goodness.
Well, with 47 laps remaining, everybody's shown their hand. Now it's time to go.
Tremont again cannot get by Tobias.
And it's hurting him.
And there's 1, 2, and 3.
Horton really closing in on the back decklet of the 115 of Tremont. And Brett Hearn using this opportunity to close in on both of them.
And I looked down to Dave Farney. There was no move over flag.
Don't ever tell me to slow a car down.
You can tell he's a racer. He wants to go.
Kenny Tremont meet Jimmy Horton. Jimmy Horton meet Brett Hearn. You're 1, 2, and 3 on the track. Less than a second separates the top 3.
Did you ever see any tire smoke, Brian?
And they've got 3 more cars coming up in front of them.
Brian, you there?
In front of Tobias.
Brian, are you there? Yes. Tire smoke, do we ever have any? No tire smoke.
No tire smoke.
Well, that's an important question because Tremont came in around lap number 54 and took a right rear sneaker. He's got close to 100 laps on that tire right now. And once you start seeing the smoke, that means the tire is going away from him.
You see more than one groove on this racetrack?
On the straightaways, yes, but going into the corners, especially into turn number 1.
3 cars, 99.
And in turn number 3, it tightens up, so you're going to need to make your passes off of corner number 4. Most importantly, corner number 4.
Boy, Andy Fusco was so right when he said never would he imagine, Brett Hearn that is, to have people who pitted after him in front of him on the track.
Well, there's the old cliche, the fastest car doesn't always win the race.
Hey, the fastest lap has been turned in by Billy Decker. That was on lap 150 when he went 115 miles an hour. Back down to Andy.
Brad Hibbard, your guy Jimmy Horton hit the wall a couple of laps ago. Any damage to the car, does he say?
No, we're in good shape. Our tires are good to go. We got plenty of fuel in the car. We found a line out there that's 3/4 of a second faster than we were running. We got a shot to win this.
There's the word down here in the Horton crew. They just put the team together, like Mark Kenyon said, and they could make history.
He's on the back bumper of Kenny Tremont, but being on the back bumper is a heck of a lot easier than being outside or inside of him.
It sure is, and he is doing a great job, and he is running a little bit of a different line, as his crew chief told us. He's running a different line. It's gained 3/4 of a second each lap on the leader, and right now he is only 2 car lengths behind.
There is a lot of lap traffic pending here.
Very important for Kenny Tremont where he catches and where he passes traffic. He wants to make the pass on the straightaways and let his competitors behind him get caught up behind the slower cars in the corners.
After a flurry of yellow caution laps and then ultimately a race stoppage for a massive pileup on the backstretch, we have now run over 40 consecutive green flag laps.
Jeff Trombley, who was involved in an incident earlier with J.J. Yaley, the pass, and here he takes a look at really the first look he's taken to get by Tobias.
Is it possible they could run 37 more laps like this?
It'll be a tough thing to see. I don't think they will stay like this. Somebody's going to make a move, somebody's going to show their cards, and somebody's going to go. A lot of money and a lot at stake on the line. Jimmy Horton and Brett Hearn will stay there and follow him.
Kenny Tremont started in row 10.
2 cars, 39.
Wow. Brett Hearn trying to go 126 laps on a single tank of fuel. As is Chrisman, who runs 4th.
And these top 3 have pulled away from Bud Chrisman considerably.
Brett Hearn running 3rd, shooting for his 40th overall win of the season, but he's got his hands full as he drifts out high.
165, 35 to go.
One guy that's got to be happy right now to see Kenny Tremont out in front is Billy Colton from Troyer Incorporated. The Tio cars have really dominated qualifying earlier this week, and Kenny Tremont's 4-link car been successful with here at Syracuse. A second and a win with it, plus nearly 50 wins out at Lebanon Valley Speedway with this car in the last 5 years, close to a 50% win ratio. Pretty impressive.
How much is Richie Tobias slowing down Kenny Tremont? A second a lap?
Well, I'm not sure if, Tremont really hasn't made a charge to try and get by Tobias. I think
Here we go.
May be content just to ride behind Tobias because he knows nobody behind him is going to make a move. But if Toby drifts up like he did last time off of corner number 2, Tremont's going to go by him.
3 cars, 99.
And this is helping him to conserve his fuel mileage too.
Nervous times. Always.
That's Syracuse.
Keep it straight, keep it smooth, and you will prevail.
Andy Fusco is standing by in the pit of Kenny Tremont.
Well, Doug, there's a blue and orange flag that sometimes the flaggers give for move over for traffic. They call it the move over flag. Our buddy Joe Murata every once in a while calls it the Passover flag. Well, they're not giving it to Richie Tobias right now, and I'm sure the Tremont crew is saying, oy vey, when are they going to do it?
I'm sure of that. Richie Tobias Jr. Then it's Kenny Tremont, your race leader. Jimmy Horton, Brett Hearn, Bud Crispin, and Danny Johnson, the top 5. But there is 1, 2, and 3 right on your screen.
Between those 3 drivers, 8 Eckerd 200 wins. 5 for Hearn, 2 for Horton, 1 for Tremont.
We're at the New York State Fairgrounds, and it's the final laps now of the Eckerd 200. You see Jimmy Horton as we went to break. Richie Tobias Jr. slowed on the backstretch, freeing up the leaders. Now, Tobias did not run out of fuel. He pitted last on lap 117. But Kenny Tremont has pounced on the opportunity, and he's opened up a more than 2-second lead over Jimmy Horton.
Well, Kenny Tremont stayed right behind the Tobias number 35 for a long time. Didn't want to make that move to go to the top side to pass him. As you saw, that's how we got the race lead when Bud Crispin and Brett Hearn got together on the high side.
Now, when Tobias slowed, Brett Hearn got inside Jimmy Horton going into turn 3, but he could not make the pass. Here it is out of turn 2. And now look, there's Hearn digging down low on Horton, but he is not able to finish the deal as Horton comes down and squeezes him a little bit, and you can see that Brett's in a little bit of out of the groove.
Well, if he had went down another tire width over, he would have been into a lot of moisture and a lot of water, and definitely could have really done some damage. Brett Hearn backed out of it. Jimmy Horton didn't give him any room.
With 19 laps to go, Tremont's lead over Horton is now 2.5 seconds. Andy? Let's go down to Andy Fusco.
Thanks, Doug. When Tobias pulled off, I asked the Tremont crew, did it bother you that the guy never got the move-over flag? And they said no. As a matter of fact, they announced at the pit meeting that they would not be using the move-over flag. The thinking is exactly what Shane just said. If a lap car went to the inside to move over, it might kick water up into the groove and make it worse for the leaders, so they're not going to use the blue flag.
We've seen a lot of moisture down on the inside of the speedway, and you can see when they come into corner number 1 that there is a lot of black moved up from the jersey barriers on the inside. See where the black ends and the brown begins? Usually they are putting the left side of those tires right down by the jersey barriers to go through the corner, but now they're about a half a car length up from that because of the moisture.
You're seeing Billy Deckard trying to get inside Alan Johnson and make a pass, and he's just not quite getting it done, but Decker has the pedal to the metal, and he's trying. 17 laps to go.
Alan Johnson in the number 1, the Elaine James Investments machine, the current points leader for the Advanced Auto Parts Modified Super Dirt Series, having a consistent Alan Johnson kind of run. He's just as smooth as silk.
Look at this.
Boy.
Decker got him. He hangs onto it. Wow.
He didn't outbrake him, he outbraved him that time.
Well, and you wonder who's going to be the bravest of them all up front, and Horton and Hearn aren't getting the opportunity. I mean, Tremont is leaving them in the dust. 3.5 second lead now.
Unbelievable, Kenny Tremont. He had up to a 7-second lead before he caught Tobias.
Last year, Billy Decker went one. Here's Brett Hearn. Hearn might be slowing. He's gone 114 laps, including the 3 after the red, and he may be out of fuel.
Well, we're looking at his crew, and the gas man is getting ready. Brett Hearn is out of gas in the Budweiser number 3.
Well, and it wasn't close.
No.
14 laps to go. And I realize this has been a sustained period under green flag conditions. However, there were a number of yellow flag laps. Down to Mark Kenyon.
Brett Hearn rolls into the pit. The car was not running. He ran it out of gas. 1 can of Sunoco fuel. He stalls it. The crew pushes it.
Jimmy Horton is in trouble.
127 laps? I don't think so. Not today.
Well, Hearn can't get his car started. Jimmy Horton's also in trouble, Doug.
And Danny Johnson is listed as in second place.
What a turn of events.
Danny Johnson pitted on lap 91. Yellow flag is out. We're going to have a sprint race now.
We sure are.
Well, Bud Crispin and Hearn both went out about the same time. Flat tire, right rear flat for Jimmy Horton.
Wonder if that's effects of when he slapped the back straightaway wall.
Because he had the newest of all the right rears.
Look at that shred.
Isn't that something? What a run he had, but he did make a mistake. He did hit that outside wall on the back straightaway, and that may have been a factor here.
Well, Doug, now we have to take a look at the field, and look who is in position number 4. Billy Decker.
Now Horton is staying out on the track. He's trying to regain the bunched up pack. Billy Decker is fourth. Tremont, Danny Johnson, Tim Fuller, who we haven't talked about much, is in third. Decker fourth, Alan Johnson fifth, Matt Shepard up to sixth, Bright Bill seventh, Coffey eighth, Tompkins ninth. Jimmy Horton has fallen back to 10th, and he'll fall more.
You know, seeing Billy Decker in position number 4 right now, Doug, after watching him put that pass on Alan Johnson,
ooh,
I wouldn't be surprised in the next 10, 12 laps to see Billy Decker do that same move to try and get the win in this Eckerd 200.
How about Danny Johnson, second?
And here's a guy, Danny Johnson, that wasn't sure which race team he was going to be racing for this year. He started out with Jay James, then he got on board with the Jim Baum team.
And you know, when we wonder who would go for a bonsai move, is Danny Johnson capable? Down to Andy Fusco.
Okay, right now I'm down here in Jimmy Horton's pit. The right rear is shredded, like you absolutely said, Shane, and it's a leisurely pit stop because he's going to fall in the back of the pack. He's lost a lot of track position. Jimmy Horton takes the Fab War number 99 back out on the speedway. His chances for victory dashed.
What a week he has had.
That team has nothing to be ashamed of. They should hold their head highs today. A great effort by that whole team for just coming together in the last 3 weeks.
Still in all, Jimmy Horton did not have anything for Kenny Tremont.
No.
Now let's see if Danny Johnson, Tim Fuller, or indeed, as you mentioned, Billy Decker, who has won this event 3 of the last 4 years, have something for Tremont.
Tim Fuller has finished in the top 3 in this Eckerd 200 before, out of Edwards, New York, driver of the B&F General Machine number M1.
Tremont, Danny Johnson, Tim Fuller, all pitted last on lap 91. A stop and go for Decker brought him back in on lap 92. Those are your top 4. Back down to Andy.
Okay, I'm here with Kenny Tremont Sr. Kenny, Brett Hearn ran out of fuel after 114 laps. I guess you got to go about, what, 110. Is there a worry here?
There's always a worry. Everything in the car works. Certainly there's a worry, you know. We figure we can make it, but it's a worry. Definitely a concern. With me, anyhow.
This guy wears his heart on his sleeve, by the way, folks, and you're going to be able to see the consternation in his face as he paces about 1,000,000 miles an hour here for the last 10 laps.
We're going green once again, and Kenny Tremont got a real good jump on the Dr. Danny Johnson. Danny Johnson runs second as they come down the front straightaway with 10 laps to go.
And Danny's got his hands full right now with the M1 of Tim Fuller, and Billy Decker is all over Fuller, trying to advance one more position, looking to get third.
Tremont pulls away once again. The battle is for third. And once again, here comes Billy Decker inside the M1 of Tim Fuller. Can he get him? Not this time.
Boy, the rear end of that car washed out on him right in the middle of the turn. He had a good run on him, but he just lost a little bit of traction.
Kenny Tremont has pulled away once again.
Look at Billy Decker. He is just running hard. 9 laps remaining. It's go time. Anything that you've been holding back, you put it on the table and you hang it all out to dry.
Our scanners on Decker.
He's a lap down.
We're watching.
Hard, buddy. Come on. Stay up on the wheel. Get him.
Decker on Fuller.
Get him. Come on. Stay up on it.
Kenny Tremont has dusted off. Danny Johnson leads by almost 2 seconds.
Danny Johnson, the winner of the Labor Day race here at the mile. And here comes Decker once again, working on the Fuller M1 for third.
Cars still running here at the New York State Fairgrounds.
Run hard now. Come on. Run hard.
All these top competitors lapped on 90, pitted on 91. They have to go 112 laps, including the laps after the red. Tremont is checked out by over 2 seconds on Danny Johnson.
10 lead to Brett, 10.
Then there's a good break before it's Tim Fuller, then Billy Decker.
Alan Johnson running in 5th position, using this opportunity as Brett Hearn is back in 11th. They came in 1 and 2 in advance. Oh, we've got a car slowing. Danny Johnson.
Danny Johnson comes in. If it's fuel, remember he pitted on lap 91. It is. They've got the gas tank. Oh my. Hang on, 5 laps to go. Someone else has slowed in the backstretch.
Brett Hearn in the number 3.
That is the battle for 2nd and 3rd now.
Hearn may have a flat tire.
He does. Tremont, Fuller, and Decker. 1, 2, and 3. Alan Johnson 4th. But the lead for Tremont is almost 4 seconds over Fuller. There's the interval. 4 laps to go. Someone else slowing. It's Billy Decker. He pitted on lap 92.
Now the question is, can Kenny Tremont make it the rest of the way?
Decker being passed. We'll keep our eyes on the leader. Tremont's got a big lead over Fuller.
Slowing. Tim Fuller is slowing, going into turn number 1, the 2nd place car, considerably off the pace.
Shepard pitted on lap 117. Shepard is currently running 4th.
Alan Johnson running in 3rd, make it 2nd now is Fuller. Slowing on the back straightaway. Brett Hearn, he's got the air tank hose stuck to his car, driving out of the pits. Unbelievable, Doug.
Tremont a huge lead now as Fuller has dropped back. Alan Johnson, there's Alan Johnson in 2nd place, almost 7 seconds behind. 2 laps to go. We're watching Kenny Tremont.
And the crew's pushing the number 91 of Billy Decker down to his pit stall. And Kenny Tremont slowing, but we have yellow on the speedway. Doug, this is unbelievable.
Okay.
Yellow on the track, and remember, we have to finish this race under green.
Shortest distance, shortest distance.
Isn't that the truth? Shortest distance around the track. Conserve the fuel. Back down to Mark Kenyon.
You know, it's amazing. All these guys gambled on fuel, and not only did they not even come close on fuel, but they missed it on tires. Brett Hearn just pulled in his back tire, his right rear tire was shredded, and we had a real close call down here. The air hose got tangled up in the back bumper, and it was a very, very tense situation, but it's amazing. The gamblers lost tonight.
Tremont is in 1st. Alan Johnson is in 2nd place. Did Alan Johnson pit on 91? Alan Johnson pitted on 91, as did Tremont. Vic Coffey is in 3rd. Gary Tompkins is in 4th. Jimmy Horton back up to 5th.
And Alan Johnson using this opportunity to increase his points lead on Brett Hearn in the Advanced Auto Parts Modified Super Dirt Series.
Down to Andy Fusco.
Here's Kenny Tremont Sr. Everybody who pitted when you pitted is running out of gas.
I know it. It's up to the Lord right now.
Okay, white flag's out. We're going to go green, white, checker.
All right, let's tell you that Kenny Tremont Jr. and Alan Johnson both pitted on lap 91. Vic Coffey pitted on lap 120, as did Gary Tompkins.
Green, white, checker is the way that this Eckerd 200 needs to finish. Green, white, checker. So they'll come off the turn, they'll get the green, and then the white, and then the checker.
Kenny Tremont will fire first. Alan Johnson is 2nd. Vic Coffey, Gary Tompkins, Jimmy Horton, the top 5.
Go, go, go.
And Kenny Tremont is off and running.
We will run 202 laps just like last year.
Well, plus the laps after the red flag. As Tremont comes down the front straightaway, he takes the green flag. Kenny Tremont has the green flag. White will be next, then checkered. Alan Johnson is second. Tremont running strong as he heads to turn 2. He's got about a 10-car length lead on Alan Johnson, and he extends it down the back straightaway.
And he is not lifting off that throttle. And Alan Johnson slows.
Alan Johnson has slowed. He drops back. White flag is coming out.
Can Kenny Tremont go the distance?
10-car lead, 10-car lead.
White flag for Kenny Tremont, who is going to milk this car around the track. Vic Coffey second. Gary Tompkins third. Tremont is running out of fuel in turn 3. He's slowing in turn 3. Vic Coffey races into the lead down the back straightaway. Gary Tompkins on his back bumper.
But Chrisman right there, the top 3 all together. Offense corner number 3.
And down the front straightaway. Cars are stopping in the front straightaway. The checkered flag is out. And the winner is Vic Coffey. Vic Coffey has won the Eckerd 200.
Unbelievable, Doug. His first Advanced Auto Parts Modified Super Dirt Series win, and he wins the biggest jewel in dirt motorsports.
One of the biggest upsets ever here at the New York State Fairgrounds.
Wow.
And Bud Chrisman has just kissed the wall.
Only at Syracuse, Doug, do we get this kind of high drama.
Vic Coffey was followed across the finish line by Gary Tompkins and then Jimmy Horton.
That picture says it all right there. The agony of defeat. Ken Tremont Sr.
All the cars that gambled on fuel mileage lost.
There is going to be a party in Leicester, New York tonight like none other.
Vic Coffey started 17th in the grid. A look at Kenny Tremont. A heartbreak. And there are a lot of heartbreaks here. Let's go down to Mark Kenyon. Mark?
I'm down in victory lane. I don't know. We told Vic to get out of the car, but I don't know if he can get out of the car. Let me see if I can get in here. Jack, let me in here. Let me have a word with him. Let me have a word. He gets a wheel off. I'll tell you what, he's elated down here. Vic, come on out. Come on, talk to us. Get up here. Vic Coffey unbelts in the car. He's stunned. Still got his helmet on. The crew is ecstatic down here. Vic Coffey with the biggest win of his career. A legend. Now a legend. His name in the history books at Syracuse. Vic Coffey, very emotional down here. Come on, Vic, get out of here and get on the roof and dance, man.
Look pretty for the cameras.
You just won the Eckerd 200. Come on out here and dance. Here he comes. Sweeteners Plus number 32, Vic Coffey. And I'll tell you what, we're getting wet down here. The crew is going nuts. Let me get him down here. Vic is this is one high-strung race car driver. Vic, come here, man, come here. Hey, tell me about it. How did you feel? Tell me about the last lap. Take me back to when you saw Kenny running out of fuel.
I come down into 1 and 2 and I saw him wiggle the car hard, and I could tell he was trying to shake fuel and get it back in the pickup, and I was just hoping he didn't keep wiggling too much and leave me a lane to get by. And you know, from there on out, I just hoping I didn't run out. I've been here and done that, and unbelievable. I don't know what to say.
Did you think with 2 to go that you had a shot at it, or were you just content to ride where you were?
Well, them guys told me they didn't know about Tremont, and they knew Alan stopped really early. You know, we were going to finish 3rd, and then I seen Alan run out, and I don't know, it just fell our way.
Vic Coffey, where you just won the Eckerd 200. Where are you going tomorrow?
Eckerd's Baldwinsville.
And you go down to Eckerd tomorrow. Vic Coffey will be there signing autographs. He just won the biggest race there is to win.
In his 7th 200 start, his top previous finish, 16th in 97. Vic Coffey is the winner of the Eckerd 200. We'll be back on Rush Hour.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
Rush Hour on Dirt is brought to you in part by Advanced Auto Parts. The best part is our people. By Sunoco A Plus, 24-hour convenience. And by Eckerd. Get more.
Could have hit your head.
Back at the New York State Fairgrounds, where Vic Coffey has won the Eckerd 200. Meanwhile, starting 41st was Gary Tompkins, and he finishes second. Let's go down trackside.
Well, this is the face of jubilation, how fortunes can change in this sport. Gary Tompkins, you blew 3 motors this week, yet you come out of it with a podium finish, a second place at Syracuse.
Yeah, that was really, it's having trouble sinking in right now. It's just been one heartache after another all week long. The car has been a rocket all week. You just couldn't keep motors together. Even tonight, the car is fast. Just we detuned the small block or the short track motor so much that we just wanted to make it live. That's the first time I ever finished this race. So and the oil light was coming on 5 to go. So I was really hoping it'd finish. That's all I was looking for. And then I see all these guys dropping out. It was just amazing. My hat's off to Vic. He drove a heck of a race. He just did what he had to do. I was faster than he was in parts, and he was faster than I wasn't in parts. But we both had to miss slow cars, and I don't even know if he really knew what was going on until we crossed the finish line either. It's just amazing.
An absolutely amazing race, an amazing top 2, Doug.
And in a way, an amazing top 3 after what happened to Jimmy Horton. He finishes 3rd. Vic Coffey is your race winner. Gary Tompkins, Jimmy Horton, Danny Johnson, Kenny Tremont, the top 5. Thanks to Tom Skabinski, Kevin Kovac, Gil Alexander, and Corey Reed for all your help. Shane Andrews, Mark Kenyon, Andy Fusco, and the entire Rush Hour on Dirt crew. What a bizarre day here in Syracuse. Vic Coffey is the winner of the Eckerd 200. This is Doug Logan saying thank you for joining us. We'll see you at Eastern States, and so long for now.